in the pregame meeting offensively, defensive.
Let's roll. Let's go. Good evening, everyone, from Dobie Holden Stadium on the campus of Pearl River Community College in Poplarville. It's time for MACJC junior college football action as the Pearl River Wildcats host the #1 team in the country, the East Mississippi Lions. I'm Kelly Sander along with color analyst Captain D. David Sutton. The Pawpaws Campers and Cars kickoff ready to come your way here tonight in Poplarville. There was some rain this afternoon, but for now it is held off and we are under the influence of partly cloudy skies. The Lions won the toss and have elected to receive. So kicking it off will be Heath Mosley, the freshman kicker out of Wayne County. The Wildcats in their all-black uniforms. End over end kick is fielded at the 10-yard line. Bringing it forward there is Braden Boykin, the wide receiver out of Madison. Boykin looking for some blockers on the far side of the field. Gets up to about the 40-yard line. Well, they will start 1st and 10, and leading the East Mississippi offense will be Messiah DeWeaver. Messiah, just like in the Bible, if you will, the Messiah spelled exactly the same way. Messiah DeWeaver, the 6'5", 230-pound sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio, by way of Michigan State. The backfield for East Mississippi has DeWeaver out of Michigan State. The #1 running back is out of Pompano Beach, Florida, by way of Notre Dame. His name is Deion McIntosh, and he is split to the left of DeWeaver. On 1st and 10, the give and go to DeWeaver, tries the middle of the line and gains about 3 or 4. And Captain D. David Sutton, as we welcome our color analyst in. David Sutton, one of the things Ted Eggers said in his pregame meeting with the media is, look, they don't do anything special, but what they do well. They tell you what's coming. You just have to stop it.
Yeah, my job's going to be easy because they're running a play. They run quick, they run fast, and they want to tire out the defense.
DeWeaver gets to the outside up to about the 46. Maybe a half a yard gain, but it looks like they'll spot it for no gain. It'll be 3rd down and 5 early on here at the River.
Well, Kelly, that's a good stop right there on defense. A good job, Coach Egger, before the game, preaching to his defense. Just stay. Don't do other people's stuff. You do your job because they are trying to get you to make a mistake.
Here's the handoff, a sweep to the left side. The linebackers come in, wrap him up. A loss on the play of 2 or 3 yards. Leading the onslaught there is Reggie Williams, the linebacker out of Hattiesburg. It'll bring up 4th down and about 7 after the loss on the play.
Kelly, they only punted twice last week. The punting unit staying on the sideline for the moment. But the River looks like they may have gotten a 3 and out to start. You cannot ask for any better start to this defense in East Mississippi, Kelly, trying to fool Pearl River. Again, I was fortunate enough to get to sit in on the defensive meeting. Coach Egger said anytime it's 3rd or 4 and more, they're going to pass it. Don't even think about it. They run it right there on 3rd and 5. Doesn't work, and the Rivers and the Wildcats look like they're about to get the ball back.
Johnny Moss, the punter for East Mississippi out of Germantown High School, is back there in punt formation at about the 29-yard line. Penalty marker, and the Lions have caused a delay of game. So that'll be a 5-yarder.
Kelly, they're not used to punting, especially on the first possession of the game. I mean, they ran up 50 points last week, 470 yards of offense. They almost didn't know what to do to send the punting unit out.
So not only offensively are they good, but defensively they allowed Hines last week, who's supposed to be one of the better teams in the South, to 81 total yards, -4 on the ground. The Pearl River offense ready to take the field. There's Cobb's kick is away. It is a low liner, but it doesn't look like anybody for Pearl River will be able to return it. The Lions hover over it at the 19-yard line, and that's where Braden Boykin, the wide receiver, downs it. And now the Pearl River offense gets to take the field for the first time tonight. Other games that we'll be keeping you up to date on from the MACJC, the toughest league in America, include Delta at Hines. That game has been moved to Mississippi College because of weather conditions. East Central playing at Itawamba. East Central will be here in Poplarville in 2 weeks. Colin is at Northeast Mississippi. Gulf Coast at Coahoma. Holmes is at Jones as the Bobcats open with 2 straight at home. Northwest Mississippi at Southwest. Swing pass out into the flat. Pass is caught. Moving forward is Tyler Polk up to about the 29-yard line as he takes the pass from Callis. A gain of 9 brings up 2nd down and 1 for Pearl River. Early in the game here, no score. The first possession for the Wildcats in their all-black uniforms.
Some really nice blocking on that wide receiver screen. And Kelly, Cooper Callis, he wants to get off to a good start here. The coaching staff does. Only 14 of 31 throwing the football last week. A nice simple pass right there to get him into a rhythm. Plus, a bonus. He gained 8.
Callis with 3 receivers to the near side. Looks right, but throws left. That pass is caught and brought in, and avoiding a tackler and getting some more yards is K.J. Breland across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. So K.J. Breland with a big gain. That'll move the chains. Pearl River on the move early.
That was 13 yards, Kelly, but the pass only went a yard or two down the field. Both plays, you had a lateral, basically a parallel wide receiver screen, little short, little in route. It was enough for the first down had East Mississippi come up and made the tackle. They don't, and Breland turns it into a 13-yard pickup.
1st and 10 for the Cats. Hand off up the middle, but nothing there as Thompson is snuffed. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Ron Thompson out of Lumberton High School. Some word that he may be headed to Memphis. 2nd down and 10 as the Lion Band strikes up along the way. It'll pass out again to the sideline. It's caught, and making the catch there is Hayden Bryce, the freshman wide receiver out of St. Joe's. Got about 3 on the play, brings up a 3rd down and 7 now.
It's a manageable situation, Kelly, and this is a big conversion right here. Again, if you're Pearl River trying to pull an upset against the #1 team in the nation, one of the ways you do it is by keeping the most potent offense in the state, possibly the nation, off the field.
3 down linemen for East Mississippi. One of the Lions is offside. This is a free one for the River. The pass goes out of bounds, and it looks like the Lions on the far side of the line jumped across early. It will not get the River Cats a 1st down, but certainly make a 3rd and 7 much more favorable at 3rd and 2. It is against East Mississippi. The ball will advance for Pearl River, and the Wildcats will now have a 3rd and short.
Well, we're up obviously in the upper level press box, and some of the East Mississippi coaching staff is to our right, and you could tell immediately they knew it was a mistake on their part, as they were hoping to get the football back to their offense. So right now, a very manageable 3rd down and 2. The Wildcats have the opportunity. Obviously, they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, so the playbook wide open here for the Wildcats as we have a stoppage in play by the referees.
Sloppy field conditions, as you can expect. The sun is shining now, but it rained a good bit this afternoon, just like last week where we didn't get the game started till about 6:45. We are able, obviously, to get started here tonight on time as referee Rick Mitchell, our white hat, coming to the sidelines here, talking to Ted Egger. Don't know what about, but there has been a stoppage in play. Hey, we'd love to know where you're watching the game from tonight. Don't forget to shoot us a text at 601-310-7077. That's 601-310-7077, and we'll give everybody the word that you are watching along the line, and keep that number handy so that you can be in contact with us all throughout the year. Because the Pearl River administration thought that the weather conditions wouldn't be ideal, free admission to the game tonight. So the folks from Scuba that came down didn't even have to pay to get into this one. 3rd down and 2 for the River Cats here on the first series of the game, right at the 50-yard line. Pearl River working north to south. Cooper Callis with Ron Thompson. Split to his left. This time the Lions think that the Wildcats moved, and they did. So the 5-yard mark off against the Lions will be returned now, and the Wildcats go back to a 3rd down and 8 after an unforced error there.
Yeah, the right offensive tackle right there, Corbin Lewis, while Cooper Callis was kind of surveying and getting the call from the sidelines, he was just way off the mark and took off early, and that's one of those lonely feelings, Kelly. Literally, he's the only person on the offense who even flinched. So he'll obviously hope that the Wildcats can convert this right here and have everyone just forget about that goof.
The East Mississippi Lions ranked #1 in the country. Their head coach, Buddy Stevens, a former coach here at Pearl River Community College, looking for his 100th win in the MACJC tonight. 3rd down and long. Callis throws. That sidearm pass is caught into East Mississippi territory at the 45-yard line by Hayden Bryce, his second reception of the night. Kellis Swinney, the defensive back out of Bentonia, makes the stop, but that moves the chains. Another first down for Pearl River as the Wildcats are in East Mississippi territory.
Kelly, that's a huge conversion. I mean, East Mississippi playing well off the wide receivers and a really nice pass by Cooper Callis.
Ron Thompson gets a good block, goes outside. Thompson lowers his head, bulldozes his way down to about the 29-yard line. Pearl River on the move here against an East Mississippi team that has not been scored on yet this early season.
It's amazing when you complete 4 out of 4 passes, the defense has to respect the pass and the running lanes start to open up. 15 yards right there for Ron Thompson, who had 214 yards in the opener last week.
1st and 10. Again, the give to Thompson, and this time he falls forward for a yard.
The middle of that line of East Mississippi, Kelly. They've got some D1 guys in there that are stashed here at the junior college level for various reasons. You know, that's, hey, a lot of these JC guys are getting their grades up or whatever the case, and you can tell it is tough sledding in the middle of this East Mississippi defense.
2nd down and 9 for Pearl River with 10:02 left to go here in the first quarter. 5 of the defensive linemen for East Mississippi are D1 guys, including schools like Michigan State and LSU. 2nd down. Again, it's to Thompson. They try the right side. Thompson lowers his head inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Good block on each end of the line has sprung Ron Thompson to the left and to the right. Another big gain that'll move the chains again. 1st and 10 for Pearl River at the East Mississippi 18.
Kelly, have you noticed all the pass success has been outside the hash marks? All the running, the 2 good runs have been sweeps. They've been outside the hash mark. Timeout on the field by Pearl River. But while they're talking it over, I mean, you've noticed the Wildcats have been able to get to the perimeter. And when the throws have been outside the hash, 4 for 4 by Cooper Callis. The 2 runs that have been wide to get outside, they've both gotten there by Ron Thompson. 4 carries now for 27 yards. But on the 2 that he's run outside, Kelly, 26 of those 27 yards. This is a great opening drive by Pearl River.
Pearl River now at the 18-yard line and inside the Red Burrito red zone. Red Burrito inside the Hardee's here in Poplarville. When you get to Hardee's, try the new Fruit Loop Donuts as part of their breakfast, just like the breakfast cereal. Just exactly. They taste exactly the same. Hardee's and Red Burrito proud to be supporters of Pearl River Wildcat football.
Now, if Pearl River doesn't get the ball in the end zone, or of course even if they do and try the extra point, it'll be Heath Mosley tonight with the kicking duties. Will Lang got the start last week, but was only 1 for 3 on extra points, was 1 for 2 on field goals, and it's one of those things, Kelly, in a game where you lose by 4 and you leave 5 points on the board. Pearl River Wildcats during the week worked Heath, who punted very well in week 1, decided to give him a shot at the kicking duties, kicking the football, field goal, and extra points tonight.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Splitting out to the far side is Donovan Hickman, the tight end. Callis wants to throw, does toward the end zone, but nobody there. Looks like the intended receiver was Hayden Bryce, but he was locked up pretty well there on the defensive coverage by Swinney, so it'll bring a 2nd down and 10.
Good job there by Pearl River's by Cooper Callis, because the Lions had that play covered. Don't force it. You know, you've got a great thing going. Don't turn the football over. It was turnovers in the second half that got Itawamba right back in the football game. Good job right there throwing it away.
All the way from University of North Carolina, Pembroke, Tyler Harris, a former PRCC player watching. Sissy and Ronnie from Florida are watching the ball game. Glad to have you along. Handoff up the middle to Thompson. A big hole that closed up. He was able to weave his way down to about the 12-yard line, it would appear, to bring up a 3rd down and 5 for Pearl River.
You saw where the Wildcats there, they got a little success up the middle, but they did so with some deception, Kelly. They had the wide receiver or the slot man coming across, looked like it was going to be another one of those speed sweeps, got the defense just flowing enough to open up the middle for a 3rd and 5.
3rd down and 5. The Monticellis are watching from Albion, New York. Coach Monticelli on the sidelines for Pearl River against Sissy and Ronnie from Pinellas Park, Florida, our friends of Marshall Cosma of PRC. Big 3rd down and 5 coming up here for the home team. Play action, throws to the corner, looking for the receiver who is out of bounds.
Yeah, Callis didn't give him a chance to make the catch, Kelly. You had one-on-one coverage out there. It was the right decision. Go ahead, let your guy go up and try to make the catch, but you got to throw it enough in bounds where he went up and made the catch, but where the ball was, he had no chance to come down with it.
So 4th down and 5. Pearl River will keep the offensive unit on the field with 8:42 left to go here in the first.
Well, at the very least, Kelly, you might try to draw him off sides. That would be a first down, but the bottom line is, after last week's kicking and with the field conditions on top of it, they may think that this is their best route.
Dwayne Lee from Oak Grove High School out to the far left, one of 3 receivers that way. Snap. Callis looking for the receiver. It's caught, and we might get offensive pass interference, David. It depends on which way the referee saw it. To me, it looked like Bryce pushed off, and I hate to say that because it's a Pearl River guy, but it looked like he pushed off the defender.
Yeah, Kelly, this is a 50-50 call. It could go either way. There was a lot of hand checking right there. The question is, what did that judge on that near side see? And there's a big, long discussion. Usually you don't get this long of a discussion on defensive pass interference, but we're about to find out.
Referee Rick Mitchell and his crew. We've got a hold against East Mississippi. It's declined because it is a first down. So the Wildcats have a 1st and goal.
Well, Kelly, on the play before, though, the play was there. The throw was just off the mark. That time, the throw was in play. The catch was made, and now 1st and goal, a chance to go up on the #1 team in the country.
Ron Thompson split to the right, now shifts to the left on a 1st and 10. They fake the handoff.
No, they gave the handoff.
No, they did. They
it
did
was
give it to
swallowed
Thompson.
up.
He had nowhere to go and was dropped at the 5-yard line. A loss of a yard on the play brings up 2nd down and goal. But as David mentioned earlier, the longer Pearl River keeps the football, then that obviously means the Lions don't have it.
Well, and Kelly, this has been a spectacular drive. It's gone nearly 6 minutes, but now you got to finish it. The last thing you want is to come away with either no points or now even a field goal. You got that close. If Pearl River can finish this off with a touchdown, there could be no better start for the Wildcats.
Shifting now to the left, including to the left, is Justin Mary, who caught a touchdown pass last week. Thompson, they give it to Thompson. He gets toward the end zone. Did the ball get turned over?
No, it was fumbled and recovered by Pearl River.
And I think Justin Mary was the man that fell on top of it. Ron Thompson fumbled it, and Justin Mary, I think, covered it because and the only reason I knew it was fumbled is I saw the referee go to the beanbag and throw it on the ground.
Actually, it looks like 22.
Justin Mary.
Justin Mary. You got it, Kelly. Good eyes right there. Justin Mary, boy, not how you draw it up, but in the right place at the right time. And when you're trying to pull an upset, you need a break, and Pearl River just got one.
So the Wildcats will go for 2 here to try to extend this lead. The first points that have been scored on East Mississippi, albeit a very young season. Callis, sidearm throw, diving and getting, lowering the head into the end zone. Pass is caught and complete to Donovan Hickman. So Pearl River takes an 8-0 lead. That might have been Juan Nelson. Sometimes those darker numbers against the dark jersey. Juan Nelson does get the 2-point conversion.
Tough to see, Kelly, but what we do know for a fact is that Pearl River took the football over with just under 14 minutes to go in the first quarter, and they go 81 yards on a 13-play drive. Kelly, that saw a 3rd down. Huge 3rd down conversion at midfield on a nice passing catch to Hayden Bryce. And then they get a 4th down conversion. Remember, they went for it. They did not go for the field goal. Coach Egger's probably thinking, we got nothing to lose. If you're going to beat this team, you're not beating them with field goals.
Right.
We need touchdowns and a lot of them. And they get one. It ends up being nearly a 6-minute drive that ends up in a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. A spectacular start. A 3-and-out by the defense, don't forget, and a great drive by the offense.
Heath Mosley to kick it away. Pearl River looking to bounce back after that 34-30 loss last week at the hands of Itawamba. Pearl River will travel to Colin next week. There's the boot that goes toward the near sideline, and the Lions will play it at about the 7, taken by number 7, Boykin, who is swallowed up at about the 22-yard line, and the Pearl River defense will get back to work here, leading 8-0. The Wildcats next week will run into another former coach, just like Buddy Stevens tonight, former Pearl River coach, the head coach at East Mississippi, the defensive coordinator Next week at Co-Lin is none other than the big game hunter himself, William Jones, who will now be in the business of beating Pearl River rather than helping them win. Hey, while we get a chance, other texts coming in from Shelton Fortenberry, a former PRC player watching from Lexington, Kentucky. Glad to have him along. From the 601, Justin Mary, a big Justin Mary fan, texted in. Glad to see that Justin made that recovery. They're watching in Gulfport, Florida. Marshall Cosma's family or friends. And from Rochester, New York, 1 hour north of Coach Egger's hometown of Hornell, New York, they are watching from the 585 area code. Glad to have you with us on prccmedia.com. It is a pleasure to get to do these games. We're not ruling out any more rain. There's a possibility we could get some more. And apparently, Captain D, as I see referee Rick Mitchell looking at the scoreboard, there's apparently a glitch with that scoreboard.
Well, there was 74 minutes and 10 seconds wasn't what we were looking for right there. Hey, and you want to shorten the game, not lengthen it like that. So they're going to get it with a 5 seconds runoff on the kickoff, 7:36. What you will get prepared to see, though, once we get going, I would imagine the Lions are going to go to the air quickly. Their first possession running the ball 3 times after throwing it 52 times last week, expected to go to the air.
So a decimal problem there. They moved it and one spot over. Handoff on the first play forward, up for about a gain of 3 on the play. There on the carry for the Lions is Deion McIntosh, the 5'11", 195-pound sophomore running back out of Pompano Beach, Florida, by way of Notre Dame.
4 plays, 4 runs. Again, they did run the football some last week, but you got to start to think that it's going to be aired out any play now. Here we go.
And there he goes. Messiah puts it up in the air, overthrew his intended receiver up at about the 48-yard line. It was not catchable, but overthrown at the same time. It'll bring up a 3rd down play now for the River defense. Tyler Harris in North Carolina is watching on PRCC Media. Tyler, a former player here at the River, as Pearl River has got a lot of really good things going on campus these days if you haven't been keeping up to date. 3rd down and 10, Messiah DeWeaver, the sophomore who came to East Mississippi by way of Michigan State, has plenty of time to throw across the middle. He's got his man and slips and falls at about the 47-yard line. That's Caleb Reddix, the wide receiver out of St. Martin, just down the road here, not far from Pearl River, and that is a East Mississippi Lion 1st down.
And Kelly, that was one stumble away from going the distance. Reddix has the ability over 100 yards and a couple of scores last week. Every time he touches the ball, he could take it to the house.
Handoff, they try the right side this time. That's McIntosh again. He gets gobbled up after maybe a gain of 2 or so. Josh Smith, the freshman defensive tackle out of Landry Walker High School in Louisiana, with the tackle. 2nd down and about 8 upcoming with 6:21 left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River leads the #1 team in the country, 8-0. The Lions on 2nd down. DeWeaver looks to the left, wants to throw, now pulls it down. He'll run it himself, and he gets tackled after a gain of about 3. He fumbled the ball after he was already down. The tackle was made by the sophomore linebacker Reggie Williams out of Hattiesburg High. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and 5. Hattiesburg's got its hands full tomorrow night as they travel to crosstown rival Oak Grove in high school football action.
Not saying that was the wrong call, Kelly, but really, if you looked at it, the quarterback was brought down on top of the defender when the ball popped out. It looked like he was down, but he might not have been. That would have been a huge break for Pearl River, but a big chance again on 3rd down to get a stop.
DeWeaver rolls to his right. He is under siege, and he is wrapped up and dropped for a loss. Back at about the 47-yard line.
Kelly, 4 East Mississippi Lions are on that side of the hash. 5 Pearl River defenders had him blanketed. He had nowhere to go with the football. Pearl River is about to force a 2nd punt. That's as many punts as the East Mississippi Lions had in the entire football game last week against Hines. A great start to Coach Ted Egger's defense.
And Johnny Moss, the punter for East Mississippi, who drew an unemployment check last week, comes into the game at the 34-yard line. He will kick it away with 4:56 left to go here in the first quarter. The Pearl River defense that Ted Egger not only coaches as the head coach, but as the defensive coordinator. His unit has been sterling up to this point. The soft turf kind of has the ball die there, kind of like a Mickelson wedge down there at about the 17 or 18-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Pearl River again, working left to right as you watch it on TV, or from north to south as Dobie Holden is parallel to Highway 11 near the campus here.
Kelly, last week, by my quick count, East Mississippi ran 87 plays against Hines. Hines only was on the field for less than 50. And right now, Pearl River has forced 2 punts off of a 13-play drive. There would be nothing more than Pearl River's offense would like to do now than duplicate exactly what they did on drive number 1.
Cooper Callis, the freshman out of Jackson, Missouri, by way of the University of Missouri, is the quarterback for this team. Out into the right flat, it's dropped by Hayden Bryce, who has been very active as a Pearl River receiver here early in the ball game. Incomplete, 2nd down and 10 upcoming.
Kelly, you and I on the ride home were talking last week that it just seemed like Cooper Callis a lot of times threw flat-footed, and the ball was when he was inaccurate, it seemed like he right there. It was the first time we've seen tonight where he kind of threw it flat-footed, dropped that arm angle a little bit, and right there threw a one-hopper essentially to his wide receiver.
The National Football League begins officially tonight with the Atlanta Falcons playing at Philadelphia. That means the Saints, of course, will play this weekend. Another pass out into the right flat, and another pass caught by Hayden Bryce upfield by about 8 or 9 yards up the field. We'll see where they spot it.
That's
here.
really close to a 1st down. But, Kelly, did you see the difference, how he was up on his toes and he threw that? You can just tell almost with the eye test right there how close it was. How different it was on the 2 passes from the 1st down to 2nd down. And they're giving the Wildcats the 1st down without even measuring. How about that? A great conversion right there on 2nd and long.
And Cooper Callis is listed in the program as 6'3", and I think they're being a little bit generous there. I think Cooper's probably more 6'1.5", somewhere in there. But a delightful young man, as we mentioned, from near the Cape Girardeau, Missouri area. Says about a 7-hour drive to get to the river, which these days is nothing, but glad to have him on board. Referees will discuss it again. We want to thank all of our sponsors, including Pine Belt Chevrolet, Pine Belt Chrysler Jeep, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, the #1 retailer of recreational vehicles in the state. Hardee's and Red Burrito. Anderson Design Center sponsors our scores throughout the league that we'll be getting you up to date on. Now, Captain D, they've moved the chains back.
Wow, and again, I knew it was close. I couldn't believe that they gave it to him without even a measurement. And now they've had to move the sticks back. And how do you get them back to where they were, Kelly? And so they're basically saying that not only are they short, there's no measurement to be had. It's going to be 3rd down at about, not maybe half a foot. But, again, that was a bad error there by the refereeing crew to not only give them a 1st down, but now have to try to replace the sticks.
Ron Thompson shifts to the right of Callis, who calls for the football. They give it to Thompson.
Didn't get it.
Falls forward, but I don't think he did get it.
Well, that was a huge respot. Let's put it that way. I mean, the Wildcats looked like they were going to have a 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, and now Thompson is tackled for a loss, and now it's 4th and 1. And they've gone for it once on 4th down, but that was inside East Mississippi's 20-yard line, now back on their own 28. Can't gamble, but that was a huge reversal by the refereeing crew.
From the 727 area code, Lynn, Butch, and Max in Tampa, Florida are watching Marshall Cosma tonight. They need one good team to watch in Tampa, because I don't think it'll be the Buccaneers. 3:33 left to go here in the 1st quarter. High snap, and the kick is off the side of his foot. It had to be rushed a little bit, but it'll get to about midfield where Pearl River will down it.
Only 24 yards, Kelly, but could have been way worse. The ball could have gotten over. That was a great catch by Heath Mosley. I mean, he got up about 5 or 6 inches off the turf to bring it down, and then barely got it away with the rush that was coming at him. So, although not the best in the books, it was better than it could have been.
We also want to thank Ramey's Markets, which are the new Ramey's, in case you haven't seen it, built right across.
It's beautiful.
From the Pearl River
For
campus.
a grocery store then.
At College Square. And a new sponsor this year, Poplarville Eye Center. Glad to have them along. Pass is caught. Coming across the middle, that's Caleb Reddix again. Penalty marker flies are all over the place as Reddix gets down to about the 40 of Pearl River, and you would think by where it was thrown.
I got. If this isn't a face mask, I'll be shocked, Kelly. When you see 3 flags come flying in all at the same time, and that's going to put East Mississippi all the way down to the 30-yard line. If we got that one right, there's your personal foul. So there was a face mask on the tackle. So it turns a 5-yard completion into a 20-yard gain when it's all said and done.
So they'll march it down the field with 3:12 left to go. Pearl River leading this one 8-0. The River Cats will have their first road game of the year next Thursday night up in Colin territory in Wesson, Mississippi. But pass out to the right, incomplete. The intended receiver there was Dion McIntosh, who had swung out of the backfield, but Messiah DeWeaver overthrew his target there.
So far, the Pearl River defense is sticking right to the script. Coach Egger doesn't want anything to. He'll give East Mississippi everything they want underneath, but nothing down the field.
Blocking at the line and some missed tackles that Dion McIntosh was able to navigate to get down to about the 24-yard line. 3 or 4 Wildcats had him hit for maybe a gain of 2 or 3, but as he wiggled his way loose, got another 3. So 3rd down and about 4 upcoming. Clock moving with 2:42 left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River leads the #1 team in the country. 3 down linemen for Pearl River. Right out of the pocket, Messiah DeWeaver finds that hole.
Got a good spot too, Kelly. Got hit by 2 Pearl River defenders, but he was able to fall forward. Had he fell to the side, he would have been short. That's going to be right on the 20-yard line, enough to move the chains.
They are going to give that to the Lions, so a fresh set of downs. From the 601, roll, River, roll, and go Justin Mary from the Oak Grove Warrior Nation. Justin Mary went to Oak Grove High School right up the road here. Handoff again up the middle to McIntosh. McIntosh down inside the 15 to about the 14-yard line. So a gain of about 6 on the play there. Tackle was made again by Reggie Williams, the standout linebacker out of Hattiesburg, who's already having a good game.
Kelly, I don't know if it's because of the field conditions or not, but I mean, you've got an offense that's run 14 plays. 10 of them have been rushes, only 4 through the air.
144 and counting. They'll run it again, this time with some fresh legs, and wiggling his way free is Joe Applewhite. Joe Applewhite, out of that name might sound familiar to people around this area. Joe out of Jeff Davis County High School, where he and Ron Thompson were teammates 2 years ago.
So 1st and goal right here, Kelly. Defense trying to come up with a huge stop and hold this 8-0 lead as we approach the end of the first quarter.
Messiah DeWeaver hands it off again to Applewhite. Applewhite down to about the 2-yard line. Again, they don't do anything fancy, East Mississippi. They just do what they do so well and will pretty much tell you what's going to happen and just dare you to stop it. Very reminiscent of the way South Panola in its heyday was doing. I say its heyday because South Panola has fallen upon some hard times the last couple of years. Of course, you'll find very few people sympathetic to their cause after all those championships. 50 seconds left to go. 2nd and goal. Again to Applewhite. Right straight up the gut. Things pretty congested. No indication. Finally, an indication, and that is an East Mississippi touchdown for Joe Applewhite.
Well, to be quite honest with you, Kelly, you're not shutting out East Mississippi. Let's be honest. And also, East Mississippi has started their drives on the 40-yard line and come away with nothing, and also gotten it up to midfield on their 2nd possession and came away with nothing and started this drive at the midfield right on the 50-yard line stripe. It's one of those things where eventually they're gonna get you, but that 2-point conversion at least is going to keep Pearl River up front, it looks like.
Moss was 6 for 6 last week in extra point attempts. This kick is up, and he is now 7 for 7 as that one threads the needle. 41 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. It's Pearl River 8, East Mississippi 7. Back with the kickoff in a moment. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com. Pearl River. So there's the end-over-end kick that will be fielded on the fly at about the 14-yard line. Trying to come back to the middle part of the field, a missed tackle, spinning and pulling the runner down at about the 30-yard line. That's Snow. Savaris Snow, the freshman out of Newton. So I credited Joe Applewhite of Pearl River with the East Mississippi touchdown. Again, that correction, that was run by Keon Moore, the freshman out of Harrison Central, where he and Pearl River have some relationships there because the former quarterback, who will see some action tonight in this ball game, backing up Cooper Callis. There's a handoff, trying the left tackle. Gain of about 2 on the play.
Looked like Jesse Purnell, I think, with his first carry of the ball game.
Purnell out of Poplarville High School, right around the corner from here.
Kelly, that'll probably be the last play of the first quarter, and any time you have a lead through any quarters of play against East Mississippi, you played yourself a good quarter. That was a great first quarter for the Wildcats.
Tavis Williams is the quarterback I was talking about out of Harrison Central. So 1 quarter of play down here at Dobie Holden Stadium. It's the Wildcats 8, the Lions 7. Back with more in a moment. You're watching Wildcat Football on prccmedia.com. Kelly Sander with Captain D. David Sutton back here at Dobie Holden Stadium, and the second quarter about to begin. Coming up at halftime on the Hardee's Halftime Show, we'll be talking with Pearl River men's soccer coach Drew Gallant. His team is rocking and rolling, kicking soccer balls and taking names, as it were. And then we're going to learn about the Who's Your Buddy program, a way that children are helped in South Mississippi in a way of you helping them make their dreams come true. That's all coming up on the Hardee's Halftime Show at our intermission break. Cooper Callis takes the snap, rolls to his right, throws. The pass is caught up at about the 32-yard line and immediately brought down after making the catch is K.J. Breland. There on the defensive play for East Mississippi is Cy Martin Jr., the defensive lineman by way of LSU.
First quarter, Kelly, the Wildcats outgained East Mississippi offensively, 88-61, 32 on the ground, 56 through the air.
Gain of about 3 on that play brings up a 2nd down and 7. Cooper Callis, a 3rd down and 7 rather. 3rd down and 7 coming up for Pearl River as the clock moving with 14:21 left to go. Now Purnell shifts to the right of Callis. Rolls to his right, wants to throw, does, has his man on the sideline. Pass is caught by Tyler Polk, his first reception of the night. Tyler Polk, the sophomore out of wide receiver out of St. Martin. And that'll move the chains, and David, the Wildcats continue to work the perimeter.
Kelly, the success has been outside the hashes, and Cooper Callis 8 of 10 to start this ball game.
1st down and 10. The give is to Purnell. Purnell trying to get outside, but he is wrapped up immediately and swallowed at about the 38-yard line. Finally taking him down was defensive lineman Daryl Middleton by way of Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's a big loss on the play, 4 to be exact. 2nd down and 14 for Pearl River, now working south to north on the layout here at a sloppy Dobie Holden Stadium field. Of course, with all the rain we've had the last couple of weeks, it's remarkable that the field has held up this well.
First time the Wildcats have been behind the chains here, Kelly. Got to watch out they don't make a big mistake right here.
Ron Thompson split to the left of Callis. They fake to throw it to him, but then get it out to the 42-yard line. Fred Hervey on the defensive coverage, making life troublesome for Tyler Polk. Hervey, the linebacker out of Charleston, Mississippi, where he was a Charleston Tiger. stopping the clock with 13:14 left, brings up a third down and about 14 for the Rivercats.
Boy, Kelly, I had my breath held right there. Hervey was about a half a step away from stepping in front of that pass. That could have been an easy 6 for East Mississippi. The incompletion may have been the best result for Pearl River right there.
And he could have been tempted to hit the receiver too early as well, so it could have been an interference call had he been forward with a preemptive strike there. So third down, we'll see what the Wildcats decide to do. Callis into the pocket, lofts this one down the middle of the field. It is intercepted at the 35-yard line. That is Joe Anderson, the defensive back out of Puckett High School. A penalty marker down on the near side of the field, so is another one on the far side. But it looks like either way, the Lions are going to have the football.
It's going to be an interesting call right here, Kelly. Number one, there's going to be a penalty on the return, I'm almost positive. As far as on the defense, obviously they were both on the return. But on the flip side, one of the Pearl River Wildcats lost his helmet, and I'm almost positive, Kelly, on the college level, when you lose your helmet, you've got to just stop. You've got to stay out of the play. He continued, and he's a competitor, obviously, trying to make the stop on the tackle. So I think there might be an illegal participation or unsportsmanlike conduct is where the flags are back around the 38-yard line of Pearl River. Now, this one back around the 43-yard line, I think it will be on the return an illegal block against East Mississippi.
They will have to sort all of this out with 12:57 left to go. Don't forget to shoot us a text if you haven't already. Let us know where you're watching the game from tonight. 601-310-7077.
And Kelly, they got behind the chains, and that's what I was talking about. Watch out for the mistake. And there's one thing for throwing the ball down the field on a pass just to say, hey, you know, if you get the interception, it acts like a punt. The problem was he throws it into double coverage. The free safety comes forward and makes the interception, and his momentum's already going the other way, so the tackle cannot be made, and he gets the big return.
So one penalty marker on the other side of the field here at about the 43-yard line, but the other two at the 40 where the referees are huddled there with 12:57 left to go. Rain a good bit of the afternoon, but you can obviously see that the sun is out. And there are still some rain clouds kind of scattered about, but it does not look like anything too ferocious from here as the referees will pick up their flags, and Rick Mitchell is going to sort this out for us.
Coach Enger he's begging for a conversation, wondering why did Buddy Stevens get to talk to four referees and I didn't get to talk to anybody. And so now here we go. He's gotten his wish, Kelly, as he lobbied to at least know what the heck is going on right here. But they have walked the ball back to the original place of where the flag is, and it looks like they have it spotted at the 33. So it looks like some sort of a hold or illegal block that they're going to come back to the 43 and go back basically where the interception was made. So when it's all said and done, it technically ends up being like a punt, but it's fortunate for Pearl River that they got that flag, because if not, it was going to be a 33-yard return, and East Mississippi was going to be within striking distance to start. So a break for Pearl River that they did at least get the penalty on the return.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for Last Chance U, trailing Pearl River 8-7 here. First, East Mississippi, the well-documented series that was on one of the pay channels for a couple of years, and now a school up in Kansas is being featured in this year's season. So 1st and 10.
Change of quarterbacks.
There is. Pass out, swing pass to the left side. Julian Connor out of Hattiesburg, who signed at East Mississippi to compete for the quarterback position, but they have converted him to a wide receiver, and that is where he is going to be. VJ Miller, the 6'3" sophomore quarterback, is in the ball game now. He is out of Fulton, Mississippi. Itawamba AHS. Handoff up the middle. Not a whole lot of room there for Dion McIntosh as he tries to get first down yardage, but he was stopped about a yard short.
Kelly, even though it's just a yard short, this is the fifth time that the Pearl River defense has gotten a third down. I mean, giving themselves a chance to get off the field.
Very quickly to work and bulldozing his way ahead for the first down, but not much more as Dion McIntosh. That'll be enough to move the chains. Several Wildcats there to help make the stop. It looked like one of them was Josh Booker Brown, the sophomore linebacker out of Westfield, Texas. First down. Launching this one down the field. He's got a receiver that is open down at about the 20-yard line. The receiver was Julian Connor, who, if you know the Hattiesburg area, he kind of had the nickname Juju growing up. Juju Connor. Incomplete there. It'll bring up second down and 10 and stop the clock with 11:51 left to go here in the second quarter.
And Kelly, quite frankly, the Wildcats got a break because he was open. I mean, that's the big play that Coach Egger doesn't want. Cover him deep, give it to him short. They almost got him right there.
V.J. Miller again with all kinds of time, and this time hits his man across the middle, Caleb Reddix, at about the 35-yard line.
And Reddix he led them last week in receptions with 7. He's already got 3 here tonight. That one goes for 20 more, and they went to their bread and butter, Kelly, that when they need a big play or they need something, some positive yards, they go to that crossing route. And both times that Reddix has made catches that have gone for any distance, it's been on that drag and cross directly across the field. He gets it again. That's another first down for East Mississippi.
And quite candidly, great job by the East Mississippi offensive line to keep all the pressure off of the quarterback, V.J. Miller, and they formed a beautiful pocket for him there, the line did, which allowed him to throw to Reddix over the middle. One of the Wildcats is down. We'll check on it for you and report back in a moment. We'll take a break. You are watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com. Well, we're back here at Dobie Holden Stadium. We still don't know who the Pearl River player is because he's surrounded there by personnel here from Pearl River. But immediately after the tackle was made, you saw one of the other Wildcats waving to the sideline saying, we got a guy in trouble over here. I'm hoping it's just a cramp. I'm hoping that it's still, although a little bit cooler than it has been, it's still very humid outside.
Still can't get a number, unfortunately, but more unfortunate is that one of the Wildcats, that looks like more than a cramp, Kelly. I'm playing, of course, the amateur doctor here, but
we can always hope.
Yep.
Nick and Stella Vetter are watching online tonight from Rochester, New York. It looks like a left leg, huh?
Yeah, they're not allowing any pressure. Actually, both legs being carried off as the Wildcat who's injured.
Dr. Lance Line from Southern Bone and Joint looks like he's down there along with certified athletic trainer Jeff Davis.
27, Kelly, is the number.
And that would be Terrence Humphrey, the freshman defensive back out of Clarksdale.
Try to get an update on him at the half for you, but East Mississippi's ready to go.
1st and 10 for the Lions at the Wildcat 32. Here's a pass out into the right flat. That is caught by DJ Clayton. Clayton wrestled out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. That's a gain of about 8. It'll bring up second down. Remember, Pearl River leads this game 8-7 with 11:20 left to go here in the second quarter. And any time that there's health situations going on, they'll try to make it as private an area as possible. Handoff forward to Dion McIntosh. An unforced error there as he slipped on the wet turf and fell. I don't even think he got back to the line of scrimmage, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 4 on the loss.
Again, another chance, Kelly. Right now, East Mississippi 3 of 5 on 3rd down conversions.
And there at quarterback is V.J. Miller. Miller has all kinds of time to throw. Is able to get away from one man, but here comes the pressure to the other side. Now running to the outside. He gets a block. Nice job by Miller to make something happen down to the 15-yard line. Great coverage downfield by the Wildcats.
Boy, Ted Egger, not outwardly, but inwardly, we had him. I mean, we had him, not only had him, but had the sack, which probably would have forced a field goal attempt or a long fourth down attempt, but now in the red zone is East Mississippi after an amazing 10-yard scramble.
B.J. Miller out of Itawamba, AHS, wants to throw, again has time. This one is batted away. The intended receiver across the middle was Juju Connor, but great defensive play there by the Wildcats, and making that play, Josh Booker Brown from his linebacker position batted it away. Oh, that was Corey Jackson, rather. Corey Jackson making the play. Corey, the linebacker out of Madison Ridgeland Academy.
Boy, he stuck with his man the entire time, Kelly, even with the extra time the quarterback had to throw the ball. Great defensive play.
Same pass out here to the right. This time it's DJ Clayton. Clayton gets inside the 10 to about the 9, but a penalty marker comes down.
And Kelly, I'm giving you the hold signal right there. It was a really good block on the outside by East Mississippi's Adrian Miller until the last minute. When he tried to get around him, he kind of grabbed the inside of the shoulder pads, at least from my perspective, and this should be coming back.
And while we get a chance, a shout out to the 727 area code where Kalen Cothran is watching from Florida State University in Tallahassee.
It's going to be a spot foul, Kelly, so although it's a hold, it's only going to be a loss of 4 yards. But you know what? Better to be 2nd and 14 than 1st and 10 inside the 10.
McIntosh split to the right, and now the referee blows the whistle again here on the near side. And it looks like the Wildcats will call timeout, so we'll take one with them. With 9:57 left to go in the half, it's Pearl River 8, East Mississippi 7. Back in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on prccmedia.com. Checking the Anderson Design Center MACJC scoreboard. In other action tonight, East Central leading Itawamba now 14-7 in the first quarter. That game is at Itawamba. East Central, who will be the next home game here for Pearl River in 2 weeks, leading Itawamba 14-7. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 near Oak Grove Optimus Park in Hattiesburg. Second down and about 13. Miller wants to throw. Again, can't find anybody. Here comes pressure. Does then have a receiver and gets crushed at about the 2-yard line. Making the catch was McIntosh downfield, but he got leveled in the secondary, but it'll move the chains and give the Lions a 1st and goal from the 2.
Boy, what again, V.J. Miller, his best asset, Kelly, is buying time. I mean, now, of course, he had the scramble, but a great job there. He just finally, somebody broke free, and it's 1st and goal at the 2.
They give it to McIntosh, but he's hit immediately and dropped. I don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage. Pearl River has done an exceptional job of shutting down this potent running attack by East Mississippi. 2nd down and goal. They'll spot it at the 4, so a loss on the play. Lights are on now here at Dobie Holden. Again, it looks like any imminent threat of rain is gone. At quarterback, V.J. Miller, the 2nd quarterback of the night for East Mississippi. Messiah DeWeaver on the bench. Wants to throw, does across the middle, incomplete. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Doing the old down and in, as we used to say when we played little sandlot football. Swinney was the, or Drummond rather, Ontario Drummond was the intended wide receiver.
Tons of time left in this game, obviously. But this is a big possession, Kelly. If East Mississippi scores, you kind of feel like they get their swagger back, you know, and it starts to go their way. Where if Pearl River can come up with a stop right here, they continue to build on that confidence from the great start.
Run around left end, nothing but Pearl River defenders there. McIntosh on the carry, maybe got to the 2. So knowing Buddy Stevens, the head coach at East Mississippi, he won't be happy with 3. And he'll entrust his offense here to try to put it into the end zone. So Ted Egger's defense here for Pearl River, a big fourth down play.
Josh Smith, their kicker, did attempt one last week but missed it. This is a huge play in this football game with 8.5 to go, and they're going to call a timeout to talk this over. Again, I go back to what I just said, Kelly, especially now. 4th and goal from the 2. The momentum swing to Pearl River's side. If they can somehow come up with a defensive play to stop this would be, immeasurable, basically. If you're the underdog and you come up with this stop and you've had the lead basically the entirety of the ball game, that's when the one thing you don't want to do is leave an underdog in the game because they start to think, you know what, we can do this. But if East Mississippi scores right here and then they come up, say, with a good defensive stop right here, you almost feel like they're like, okay, everything's back to normal. We're in good shape.
Pearl River leads it by a point, 8-7, over the number 1 team in the country. Coming up on the Hardee's Halftime Show, we'll be talking with Drew Gallant, the men's soccer coach here at Pearl River. They are really, really playing well. Undefeated on the year so far. We'll also be learning about a project called Who's Your Buddy, a chance for you to help children make their dreams come true. 4th down play. V.J. Miller with a man in motion to the near side. That's Drummond. He will run it himself, and he gets into the end zone. That's a Lion touchdown.
Overloaded the line to the right, ran a man in motion to the right. What do you think's going to happen? They're going right, correct? Nope, you're wrong. Quarterback snap went the other way to the left. Only a couple of defenders out there. They got him blocked, and Miller was able to get into the end zone for the touchdown.
So V.J. Miller on the 4-yard touchdown scamper has given the Lions the lead. And on to try to extend that lead is the place kicker for the Lions. This one is Josh Smith. High snap, but the kick is up, and the kick is good. Wasn't pretty, but it got through. So Josh Smith, the freshman kicker out of Tupelo High School, where he was a Golden Wave, gets through. East Mississippi leads Pearl River 13-8. Back with the kickoff in a moment. You're watching Wildcat Football on prccmedia.com. So the Lions will kick it off left to right. Again, Josh Smith will await the indicator, and the Wildcats setting up shop at about the 10-yard line to ready to pull this one back. End over end to the far side of the field. Will be tracked at about the 12-yard line. And stacking up the return up at about the 27-yard line. That's where the Wildcats will start 1st and 10.
C.J. Terrell looked like he was launched out of a cannon right there as he made the tackle on that kick return. Kelly, I believe I have this right, if memory serves me correct. The Pearl River Wildcats turned the football over 3 times last week against Itawamba, all 3 times. Those turnovers were turned into touchdowns. Again, right here with the interception. I know it was down the field, but still, 4 times the Wildcats have turned the football over, and 4 times the opposing team has been able to turn it not only into points, but into a touchdown.
In his pregame meeting with the media, Ted Egger says there's no team I'd rather play getting ready to go into South Division play than East Mississippi. Lets us know where we're at. That pass is batted out of the air. One of the things that linebackers are always taught, defensive linemen, is to get your hands up, and that's what happened with Eric Kitchen there, the 6'2", 250-pound sophomore defensive tackle out of, where else? South Panola High School.
And what that was, Kelly, was an adjustment because Pearl River is trying to look one way to get the defense flowing and then go back the other way on these passes. That time did the same thing, but you're right. Defensive lineman getting his hands up going, oh, no, I've seen this already, and he knocks the football down.
Incompletion stops the clock. Callis goes back to work. He throws it toward the sideline, and nice catch up at about the 38-yard line. Cradling that ball for the Wildcats is Tyler Polk out of St. Martin, his 2nd reception of the game, and that'll move the chains as the Wildcats get it up to the 38-yard line.
Kelly, I might be in the minority right here, but I think that he came down out of bounds right there. I mean, if this was the pros, this would be getting reviewed. But luckily, the Wildcats get the benefit of the doubt on the call. It's an 11-yard pickup.
Another quick pass to the sideline. Another quick catch there by KJ Breland, and he's escorted out up at about the 41 or 42-yard line. And Pearl River made this their modus operandi in the first quarter, and then hit them with a couple of big runs. So we'll see if that's what Ryan Trevathan, the offensive coordinator for Pearl River, might have in mind here. With 7:49 left to go in the second quarter, East Mississippi leads Pearl River 14-8.
You're not going to just line it up and run it against them. You're going to have to loosen them up with the pass a little bit, and that's what Pearl River's trying to do here.
Second down, handoff, and there's the run. Ron Thompson cuts it back upfield. Thompson is corralled at about the 40-yard line. He was finally dropped by Everett Cunningham, the 6'3" defensive tackle out of West Point High School, but that's a big gainer for the Cats. And they'll spot it at about the 39-yard line at East Mississippi's end of the field.
19 to be exact, and Kelly, that's how you do it. You loosen them up with the pass if you can. That's the hard part. You got to do it. But by completing these passes, East Mississippi is guarding against the throw. You got them on another perimeter run.
Callis fakes the handoff and will run it himself on the dive up to about a 2-yard gain. There watching him was Jeremiah Brazil, the defensive tackle out of Gulfport High School. The Admirals are pretty good this year on the high school level.
Kelly, this is a really good response to the touchdown drive, though, if you think about it. They're using the clock. They're moving the football. Now, can you put some type of points on the board and cut into this 6-point lead?
Callis with 3 receivers to the near side of the field as you see it. One receiver going in tight. Man in motion comes to the near side. Callis wants to throw that way. Does! Had a man open and just overthrew Tyler Polk down at about the 25-yard line.
Kelly, that's one of those. It's a little bit painful, is it not? Because that was a really, really well-designed play. I know you talk a lot about the offensive coordinator for Pearl River. Right there, you got to give him a star on that play because he got 4 guys all bunched up in the area, but Polk, the way that route was run, he was left open. That should have been a 15-yard gainer right there just off his fingertips.
Well, 3rd down and 10. Pearl River thinks that it has a free play, but whistles blow. One of the Lions clearly pounced a little early here.
Unfortunately, he made contact. Had he not made the contact, Kelly, they would have had the free play, but he did bump up against one of the linemen of Pearl River. It's the right call by the officials.
So the Wildcats will get a free 5-yarder there down to about the 34-yard line. But again, the playbook gets a lot thicker when it's 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, they needed that 5 yards. 3rd and 9 was going to be a tough conversion, and you got to feel like this is 4-down territory here also.
Cooper Callis out of the University of Missouri at quarterback for Pearl River. Looking to the sideline. Bryce is the receiver to the near side. He's been doing most of the heavy lifting today for the Pearl River receivers. With 4 seconds left on this play clock, Pearl River will have to burn a timeout.
And that's their final one of the first half, so mark that down with the old bookmark because you never know, especially late in the first half, or if something goes wrong, they don't have one to burn.
6:31 left to go. Pearl River will head to Colin next week to play the Wolves up in Wesson. We'll be on the air about 10 minutes before kickoff, and you can follow everything Pearl River Athletics on all the different formats of social media. Boy, they're doing all sorts of neat things with graphics now and all these things that you and I certainly don't know anything about. But
I know how to look at them, and that's about it.
They look nice, don't they?
They do. They're pretty.
So the Wildcats will go to Colin next week, and the next home game then is 2 weeks from tonight, when East Central, the Warriors, who were at last report beating Itawamba 14-7 in Itawamba's home opener, the Warriors will come here 2 weeks from tonight as Pearl River now heads into South Division play. The only non-division game left will be the very last game of the year when they head to Mississippi Delta. 3rd down and 5. Callis fakes the handoff to the man across the middle, then hands it up the middle. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. I
was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if some way the Wildcats ran the football here to see if they could catch East Mississippi napping, because they knew they were going for it here on 4th down anyway. Good job again. That interior line, there's been very few yards to be had in this first half against the big fellas from East Mississippi.
Again, we talked about East Mississippi. 5 of their defensive linemen all from D1 schools, including schools like LSU and Michigan State. So 4th down, Ron Thompson takes his helmet off as the Wildcats come to the sideline. We'll take a quick break. With 6 left to go in the second quarter, Pearl River trailing 14-8. You're watching football on prccmedia.com. Well, Captain D, you said that 4-down territory. We'll see what the Wildcats have here. That was an East Mississippi timeout, by the way. As you mentioned, Pearl River was out of timeout.
Shows you how important they feel this play is.
4th down. Callis might be changing the play at the line of scrimmage here. Plenty of time on the play clock. Takes the snap. Wants to throw toward the sideline. Incomplete. They thought, Pearl River thought he was held. That the receiver was held, but no call. Kellis Sweeney, the defensive back out of Yazoo County High School, on the coverage there for East Mississippi. So the ball goes over on downs, and the Pearl River defense comes back to the field with 5:55 left.
Kelly, it's one of those tough ones. I mean, from the Pearl River broadcast crew, yep, there was some contact. There absolutely was contact, but the pass really wasn't thrown well enough. You know, it wasn't close enough to the receiver. Had it been thrown a little bit tighter into the receiver where he was a little closer, you know, I think they would have got the call right there. I almost think that's a good no call, though, by the officials.
1st and 10, pass is caught by Rashad Eads, his first reception. He's out of Noxubee County High School, Macon, Mississippi.
They leave V.J. Miller in, by the way, and I have to agree with it, Kelly. That drive that he just orchestrated, it wouldn't have happened had he not scrambled for the 10 yards, but he looked in control of the offense on that touchdown drive a moment ago.
The Lions working very quickly. Pearl River with 3 down linemen. Flags fly. V.J. Miller again flushed from the pocket. He'll run straight up the gut. He comes down at about the 47-yard line. This might be actually against Pearl River. I think maybe the left end for the Wildcats was in the neutral zone. But again, a flag down here. The Lions are saying, what the heck, let's get going here. They're ready to snap the ball into play. It was offsides against Pearl River.
So they'll obviously decline that. It's interesting, Kelly. Last week, you had Messiah DeWeaver throwing the ball 38 times and rushing it 10, while V.J. Miller only threw it 14 times and rushed it 4. But now it looks like with the way the offense is running, we're going to see a whole lot of V.J. Miller for the rest of this ball game.
Little swing pass out here to the right side. Rashad Eads again with the reception. Across the 50-yard line, making the play for Pearl River was Darrell Luter, the freshman cornerback out of Oak Grove.
Again, it's one thing to say this, but another thing to do it. But this Pearl River defense needs a stop badly right here because you can just see the energy on the Lions offense. They feel like they are taking control of this ball game. A big turnover or stop right here would be huge for the Wildcats.
2nd down and 5. A bunch formation to the right as 3 receivers come over here to the near side of the field. Miller wants to find one of them, throws a strike, and he does find one target there, Jason Brownlee, the wide receiver out of West Point.
His first catch of the night, Kelly, and now they're starting to spread it around. Kelly, last week, 13 different receivers made a catch in their victory over Hines.
3rd down and a yard. This time they try to run it, slipping initially, but then regaining his posture and getting the first down is Dion McIntosh. That'll move the chains.
Oh, it's the little things, Kelly. He slipped, but somehow was able to stabilize with that hand. Instead of 4th and 4, he gets the first down.
Josh Booker Brown on the tackle for Pearl River. 1st and 10. Again, Miller wants to throw. All sorts of time. Throws this one opposite foot into the end zone for Jason Brownlee, but overthrew him. And David Sutton has talked before about quarterbacks throwing off the opposite foot or flat-footed. Didn't get the footwork he wanted there. but V.J. Miller overthrew his intended receiver who was open in the end zone. 2nd down and 10. The incomplete pass stops the clock with 3:51 left to go here in the second quarter.
Part of this time Miller has is not only a good offensive line, but the Wildcats just aren't rushing a whole bunch. They're trying to guard and protect and defend this potent receiving core from the Lions.
Keon Moore split to the left, but Moore will not be used. They'll pass it, and it's caught there by Juju Connor. Julian Connor out of Hattiesburg is dropped at the line of scrimmage. So nice play by Pearl River, brings up a long situation here.
Kelly, I did not get the number, but that was a great play by the defensive back of Pearl River. Absolutely bullying his way through a block right there. He was the only man out there, and he gets a 3-yard loss out of the deal.
3rd down and 11. Here comes pressure. Got away from one man, spins away from another. The Pearl River pursuit finally takes down V.J. Miller. No gain on the play. It'll be 4th and 11.
And now what do you do if you're East Mississippi? You're inside the 40-yard line, but you got a 4th down and 12 staring you. I think they go for it right here, and it's a big play. Pearl River has got to get off the field on this play right here.
From the 662 area code, look who texted in. Markevian Quinn, the former quarterback from Pearl River, watching from Memphis, Tennessee. Good to have you watching tonight, Markevian. Wish you were here. 4th down and 11. Again, Miller with all kinds of time. Lofts this one to the sideline. It is batted away at the last minute, and Pearl River will take over on down.
Oh, a great defensive play right there by Pearl River. I'm trying to get the number for you. Those numbers are hard to see. I believe that was Reggie Williams back there on the defense and the Wildcats. Kelly, that was an absolute bona fide must stop right there, especially once you got it to 4th and 12, and look what's happening. Not only do they get the stop, Pearl River's going to get its best starting field position of the night with 2:37 left to go, but do remember, no timeouts to work with.
Eli Stringfellow was the man that gets the credit for the tackle there. The defensive back, the freshman out of Meridian High School. 1st and 10 now for the River Cats at their own 39-yard line. David mentioned 2:37 is what they have to work with. Kyle Hill has checked in tonight, the former director of bands here at Pearl River. He's watching the game. Glad to have him along.
False start, not the way you want to start the offense.
Because it puts them behind the chains.
That's
again,
right.
as you were talking about.
And Kelly, the only time they have been put behind the sticks all night long, they ended up with an interception. Actually, the first pass after they got behind the sticks almost could have been intercepted, and the second one was.
That'll bring up a 1st down and 15 for Pearl River, trailing in this game 14-8. Markevian Quinn, was good to hear from him. I think he's going to be playing a lot for Memphis in a very short period of time. Look out, that ball was nearly picked the other direction. And the man that was there was Jaquez Akins, the sophomore defensive back out of Starkville. And boy, he would have raced to the house with no repercussions, but just couldn't hang on to it as he stepped in front of the intended receiver.
Cooper Callis is 10 for 14 for 79 yards. Very efficient when he's not behind the chains. When he has been in anything longer than 10 yards to go, 0 for 3, and has 1 interception on the books, and the other 2 could have been. That one should have been.
2nd down and 15. Callis again wants to throw across the middle. The intended receiver was Tyler Polk, but did not cut in time, or the pass was awry. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and 15 now for Pearl River. We talked about Markevian being up at Memphis. Again, we're kind of getting word that Ron Thompson is being heavily recruited by the University of Memphis.
What a job Markevian Quinn did last year, coming on in the second game after an injury, and all he did was run for 1,000 and throw for 1,000 in his relief role. I think once he got his chance to shine, he did not let that opportunity go by the boards.
3rd down and 15. We'll see what Callis and company have. They hand it off right straight up the middle, and the ball comes loose. The ball is down, but they will whistle that the runner was down.
No, I don't think so, Kelly. I think
the back judge was pointing his finger down, but like the runner was down. But I guess it will go over to East Mississippi.
Behind the chains twice in the ball game, and both times Kelly, I think you're right. They are going to call him down.
Yeah, I just saw him pointing his finger as if we were down, but now it's 4th down and 12, and the punting unit.
Either way, behind the chains twice in the ballgame, Kelly. One time turning it over, and that time nearly turning it over 3 consecutive plays, it seems like. So Wildcats got away with one there.
High snap, and then a rugby-style kick that takes a Pearl River bounce. Actually hit one of the Wildcats at about the 31-yard line. So under the circumstances,
Heath Mosley has made 2 of the best plays all night, Kelly, on the snaps. The long snaps, both of them have been high. I have no idea how he went up with one hand. He was able to ricochet the ball basically down to himself and then having to get out of the way of the oncoming rush and rugby style it forward. That was a spectacular punt and save basically by Heath Mosley.
And Terrence Humphrey right down here in front of us in the press box. Terrence is being wheeled off on a stretcher. He's sitting upright, but it's clearly problems with the lower left leg.
Yeah, it looks like a left ankle or shin.
Miller wants to throw. Does. That pass is caught but leveled after making the catch was Caleb Reddix. Man, did he get hammered there.
That was a break for Pearl River that he caught it because the clock continues to move. East Mississippi only with 1 timeout.
Making the hit there was Kyron Norwood, the sophomore defensive back out of Forest County AHS. No gain on the play as we get right at the 1-minute mark left to go in the half. East Mississippi over PRC 14-8. Whistles blow. This play will not be allowed to develop. Who have the Saints got this weekend in the opener? You know?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, and we got people watching from Tampa Bay here on the web. Former Southern Miss coach Todd Munkin, I believe, was the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers.
False start against East Mississippi.
Yeah. So it'll be 2nd down and 15 as we're south of a minute left to go in the half.
And now you wonder if you're the Lions, if you don't just run it once and take it to the house. Now, again, they're the #1 team in the nation, and they could probably score on any play. But this has been a hard-fought first half. I mean, they've got a 14-8 lead and have really had to claw their way to that lead. And so Pearl River now, they have no timeout. So if East Mississippi wants to run the clock out, Pearl River can't do anything about it.
And the Wildcats will get the football to begin the second half of play. That's important to know. Pearl River pretty much exclusively tonight has gone with a 3-man front defensively. As David talked about trying to play contained defense rather than rushing the passer, but VJ Miller has been terrific for Last Chance U.
On their first touchdown drive, East Mississippi was able to pick their way, not make a mistake and score. Truthfully, on the second drive, Kelly, it was all about VJ Miller's 10-yard scramble. On that 3rd and long, when the Wildcats had him, they had him in the backfield for a sack, would have made it about 3rd and 18 or so, probably ends up being a field goal attempt at best, but instead he was able to keep the drive alive just with a spectacular play with his legs.
So meanwhile, back at the ranch, 2nd down and 15. Miller pump fakes, wants to throw, can't find anybody. He will be chased out of the pocket now and knocked out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. Still be about 7 yards short. On the prowl there for Pearl River was Corey Jackson, the linebacker out of Madison Ridgeland Academy. 3rd down and about 7 upcoming.
And Kelly, what they were waiting for previously, the false start was against the offense, and because East Mississippi didn't take a timeout, if you notice, there was a 10-second runoff. So we're all the way down to 37 seconds now left after the 10-second runoff and the scramble by Miller.
3rd and 7. Miller hands it off, and the Lions will be content to take this one.
Well, probably not now because they got a first down. If Pearl River stopped them, they would have taken a knee and went to the half. But now I would imagine they'll try to get to the line of scrimmage and see what they can come up with right here.
Deion McIntosh actually made that play. Chase Crosby, another fine former Pearl River player watching tonight on the web. Glad to have Chase along. Chase out of Harrison Central High School. There's a pass that is batted out of the hands of Kadeem Ricks. Good defensive play there by the Pearl River secondary.
Flag thrown, though, in the backfield as the offensive line was trying to protect here.
And the numbers for Pearl River getting increasingly difficult to see.
Oh, a personal foul against PRCC. So somebody did something wrong on the defense. I just don't know what it is. I wish I was a little more descriptive than that. Kelly, what this is going to do is put them in Hail Mary territory. They do have one timeout left. They could try a 15, 20-yard pass and get into field goal range, or they could throw it into the end zone. 14 seconds left on the clock. Pearl River, that 15-yard penalty has given East Mississippi a chance to put points on the board right before the half.
1st and 10, but that's really moot at this point. Miller has all kinds of time to throw. Now slings it toward the sideline, incomplete. Stops the clock with 6.4 seconds left to go. 6 seconds left to go in the half.
Well, the good part of that play, besides the incompletion, was how long Miller held it. So now I believe you will. I really think the only option you have, unless you want to try a really quick pass to the sideline to pick up a few and try a long field goal attempt, I would imagine this is going to go into the end zone, and they're going to hope for a tip and a catch.
Pearl River showing 3 defensive linemen now. They have not blitzed at all tonight. Again, Miller with all kinds of time. Launches this one down toward the end zone. Receivers are there, jumping up and making the catch. It's an East Mississippi touchdown.
Dontario Drummond just went up. The Pearl River defensive back mistimed his jump, quite frankly, because he was on the way down as Drummond was on the way up. And there's no other way to describe it. That's devastating.
Dontario Drummond, the sophomore wide receiver out of Laurel, with the Hail Mary reception.
44 yards, and you play as well as Pearl River played, and you find yourself down 14 or 15, depending on, 12 or 13. That's going to be tough for Coach Ted Egger and his staff to kind of get his team to shake off.
You hope that that's not the emotional dagger for this Pearl River team. The place kick is up, and it is good. So we are at halftime now. And what a difference about 15 seconds makes.
The 15-yard penalty, Kelly, gave them the opportunity, got them close enough where V.J. Miller could launch it to the end zone. He did just that. You got to knock it down. You have to knock it down. And Pearl River had a couple of guys back there. The one defender, though, was behind the play. So Drummond was able to kind of shield him off, almost like a basketball player getting a rebound. He really shielded off
setting a pick.
One of the defenders. So and the man that was in front, as they had him bracketed, completely mistimed his jump. And I tell you, if we had that on the replay, you would see the defender for Pearl River's hand is going down as Drummond is at his apex of his jump, and it ended up, quite frankly, not being that difficult of a catch. I mean, it went right into his hands, and he came down with it. He almost looked shocked how easy it was when he was standing there with the football.
The 6'2", 200-pound sophomore out of Laurel High School, where he was a Laurel Golden Tornado. We're at halftime. It's East Mississippi 21, Pearl River 8. We'll be back with the Hardee's halftime show. After this break, you're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com. Back at Dobie Holden Stadium on the campus of Pearl River Community College in Poplarville, where the Wildcats trail the Lions of East Mississippi 21-8. Captain D. David Sutton will be along in a bit with another installment of the Captain's Log. This halftime show brought to you by Hardee's in Poplarville, where they bake their buns fresh every single day. And if you go in for breakfast, you're going to be able to actually smell that aroma coming from the kitchen. There's nothing quite like it. And if you go in for breakfast or any time for that matter, try the new Fruit Loop donuts for a limited time only. Donuts, the mini donuts that you are normally used to getting, but they're flavored just like the breakfast cereal Fruit Loops. They're even different colored, just like the Fruit Loops breakfast cereal. At Hardee's now, and don't forget, by taking your student or faculty ID, you get a discount every single day at Hardee's in Poplarville. Proud to be supporters of Pearl River Wildcat football. Again, the Wildcats trailing 21-8 at halftime, but they'll get the football to begin the second half. Joining us on set now, Mike Side is the men's soccer coach here at Pearl River Community College. Drew Gallant, whose team is undefeated right now. He's in his third year. Not only are you guys undefeated, Drew, you guys are taking names at this point. Man, what is working so well?
Just team unity. Teams really come together very well. They've bit into what we're doing and the style of play we're using. It's been very successful for us, and you can see it in the stats. Definitely more of a team style play this year. Keep the ball on the ground most of the time. A lot of assists are coming this year. We probably have more assists this year already than we did all of last year combined.
Well, it's not unusual when you will see a final soccer score maybe be 2-1. 1-0, things like that. But I mean, you guys are putting up some big numbers offensively this year.
Yeah, it's gone very well for us. We're really lucky to have some very talented returning players. Bo Bowman, who's from Bay St. Louis, Bay High kid, plays right forward for us. Javon Ennis, Jamaican boy, who's back, leading goal scorer from last year. And then we got several guys that give us lots of depth when it comes to scoring goals. I mean, we don't have to rely on one person, whereas last year we had to rely on Javon all the time, and now we've got kids scoring goals nonstop. And if they're not performing, we're in a place where they come off the field. If they're having a bad day, we don't lose the level of play when we make changes.
One of the things I would imagine is the toughest part of your job is like you said, not only the chemistry, but the fact that you're having to build a chemistry with kids who are not necessarily from the Poplarville area, but not even from the United States.
Yeah.
Right. So how does that happen?
We do a good job with it, try and keep it balanced. 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen that are international players. And when they come in, we try and match them with a roommate who's going to be good for them, a good fit. And that way they adapt well. And it's shown to be successful already with what we're doing.
Let's talk about some of the other teams in the MACJC who have had great programs over the past, teams that you would expect to be doing well as you go forward.
Gulf Coast is a very good team. We played them the other night.
You whooped them.
Yeah, but they're still a very good team. They were missing a couple players against us, but it still is a huge result. Anytime you can go to Gulf Coast and win a game, it doesn't matter what the score is. It's a big win. So Gulf Coast will be very good. Southwest, one of the most talented teams in the state, if not the most talented team in the state. They've put up some big numbers already. We had a game scheduled with them Tuesday that was rained out due to the hurricane that luckily missed us.
Yes.
And then we rescheduled it for the 19th of September. And then Jones. Jones has kind of rebuilt their whole squad, got some really good international players in. He got into the Jackson area and picked up some very talented players. So I would say those 3 teams are the best 3 teams in the state, and they're all right here in our division.
The Spirit of the River is on the field right now, presenting its tribute to Cool and the Gang, music that I'm certainly well familiar with. The largest offering ever for the Spirit of the River, the largest band to ever take the field here at Dobie Holden Stadium. They sound terrific as we continue here on the Hardee's halftime show with Drew Gallant, the third-year men's soccer coach here at Pearl River. You know, when kids are playing select soccer and so on when they're young, I'm sure there's a lot of coaching that goes on. But when you've got players at the level that you get them, Drew, how would you describe how much coaching is going on?
A lot. I try to make the point of if we're saying anything, it needs to be instructional, tactical decisions. It's not just we're not cheerleaders on the sideline. I try and stay on our staff. We have Thomas Keene, who's in his second year with us, and JP. I can't even pronounce his last name. Brazilian guy. JP's great. He's in his first year.
A lot of consonants.
Oh,
in his
yeah, a
last
lot.
name,
JP's in his first year with us, and I try and stay on him. Like, if we're going to say something, it needs to be instructional. Yeah, we do hit points where we're excited and in the game and just screaming a little bit, but let's make tactical decisions. Let's coach the boys up as much as we can while they're on the field.
You hear so much about the Jackson area teams being really good, and Gulf Coast, has had great youth soccer teams throughout the years. How, between Jackson and the Gulf Coast, how are we doing more as far as developing young soccer players, or do you still have to get a bulk of your guys from the coast?
Our recruiting, we have gotten a bulk of our guys from the coast. It's hit and miss with other areas. There's some talented players coming out. Can't name any names right now, but
sure.
I think we'll pick up some local talent this year, some really good local talent coming up that's closer to home. But we still do a good job of taking care. The majority of our players have actually come from our district, between Bay High, St. Stanislaus, even North Forest. We got our goalkeeper who's done so well. He was just awarded National Goalkeeper of the Week again. He got it 2 times last year. He's a North Forest graduate. So I have to look at the exact numbers, but I'd say 50 to 60% of our roster still comes from the district.
Well, and the district, of course,
the old district.
You and I are old enough to remember when we say the district, what that means. But, of course, districts don't exist anymore. But, I mean, the high school areas that were assigned to Pearl River back in the day. Drew Gallant, your team is undefeated right now, and I want to ask you about a fundraising effort underway tonight and indeed anytime called Who's Your Buddy. You see people walking around the stadium tonight with T-shirts that say Who's Your Buddy, and it's a very important fundraising cause. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the program that you're involved with.
Who's Your Buddy is a nonprofit organization that was started by a good friend of mine named Brett Murdoch. He lost his father, Buddy Murdoch, on February 14th to cancer. And he started the organization to help raise money for his father and help pay the medical bills. But when it ended, he wanted to continue his father's legacy. If anybody knew Buddy, he's a big guy, big personality, loved everybody. He was always there for people. And Brett wants to continue his father's legacy. And right now he has 2 little buddies that they're raising money for. One of them's father's here tonight. Rittenhouse was not able to be here with his father. We dedicated a jersey to him, and we're raising money for him. A Spearman boy is another one that he's also raising money for right now, and it's going really well. If you come to any of the soccer games, any practices, we can't wear sponsorships on our uniforms in college, but we wear it during warm-ups, during pregame, during practices. All of our stuff says Who's Your Buddy, because we're trying to help raise awareness and just do anything we can for the kids. I know Ritt's father was telling me he's at home watching the game on the live stream. He's a big football fan. He FaceTimed us earlier, said he was real thankful for everything we're doing, and
they're selling T-shirts here at the stadium tonight, and people can give online as well.
Yep, who'syourbuddy.org. They can go and they can make donations there. You can also purchase shirts. There's a lot more options available online tonight. We've got, of course, the Pearl River colors going, maroon and gold, but we're taking donations, giving out bracelets, just trying to do what we can and give back.
Now, Drew Gallant, I have to ask you, is how many X's are in front of the L? Because some of us big boys, we might need more than a medium.
Well, if you meet my friend Brett, you'll see he takes care of the X's.
Okay, so there's plenty of X's to go around.
There's plenty of sizes to go around.
All right, so tell us about, you guys are about, a third of the way through the season at this point?
Yeah, tomorrow actually will mark our 5th regular season game. We have 10 more after that, so that'd put us exactly a third of the way through. Right in the middle of division play, or Meridian Community College coming in. It's always a tough test when you play Meridian. They fight really hard, and they're gonna fight to the end. So if we don't show up and perform, we know that we won't get the result that we want.
But haven't you, even as the coach, I know you expect to win every game, but haven't you even to a small degree been surprised at how well your team has played?
I'm actually not happy with our performance so far.
Really?
I don't think we've reached the level that we can. Yeah, the results have been good for us, but we're still not performing to our best, and that's kind of how I approach everything with the team. If we become satisfied is when we will not. If we become satisfied with our performance is when we'll start to drop and somebody will catch us. I mean, we're never going to reach our best. So if we keep striving for that, we should always do well.
Drew Gallant, the third-year men's soccer coach here at Pearl River, his team is undefeated, and their home games are live streamed here on prccmedia.com. So when you pull up the schedule and follow PRCCC, you look at that home schedule, they'd always love to have you in person, especially now as temperatures, it looks like, are going to start coming down just a little bit, to watch soccer games in person. They're a lot of fun if you've never been, because you're right there. You're up close and personal with the players there by the field. But if you can't make it, prccmedia.com for all Pearl River men's soccer matches that are at home here at Dobie Holden. And again, who'syourbuddy.org to help make dreams come true for some youngsters. Who'syourbuddy.org, and they're selling T-shirts down there in the stadium tonight, and we know that you'll all want to help. Drew, continued success, man. Very excited about the way the season's gone so far, and hopefully we're talking about another men's state championship for Pearl River in whatever sport, this case being soccer.
Hopefully.
All right, hang with us for just a second. We'll take a break. When we come back on the Hardy's Halftime Show, Captain D. David Sutton will rejoin us with another installment of the Captain's Log. Pearl River trailing East Mississippi 21-8 at half. Back with more in a moment. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com. The Hardy's Halftime Show continues. Here's the Wildcats on the field getting ready for the second half of play, which they will receive the second half kickoff. The Lions, the resurgent Lions, there in the last minute or so of that second quarter, leading Pearl River 21-8. Here to tell us how we got there is Captain D. David Sutton with another installment of the Captain's Log.
Great start for Pearl River in this ball game. In fact, I just don't think that you could have asked for anything more. The Pearl River defense came out. East Mississippi got the football first and actually started on the 40-yard line after a good kick return. So here you go. You get the number one team in the nation starting off with good field position. And what does the defense do? They force a 3-and-out and a punt. Great job there. The Wildcats took the ball over on their own 19-yard line. Long way in front of them to go, but all they did was go 13 plays, 81 yards, put a touchdown on the board. Needed a little bit of a break there with at the 4-yard line on a 3rd down and goal from the 4-yard line. The handoff was fumbled, but it was fumbled into the end zone, and Justin Mary was the man in the right place at the right time as he ends up getting what ends up being a 4-yard fumble recovery. He gets a rushing touchdown, technically. So congratulations to him on probably one of the only rushing touchdowns he'll get as a Pearl River Wildcat. But nonetheless, the touchdown for the Wildcats, 2-point conversion was good. And just like that, at the 7:41 mark of the first quarter, Pearl River led the number one team in the nation by a score of 8-0. East Mississippi almost went scoreless in the first quarter, but after a nice drive with just 41 seconds remaining in the opening period, they got a 1-yard TD run by Keon Moore. They hit the old-fashioned PAT, so Pearl River still led the number 1 team in the nation after 1 quarter of play by a score of 8-7. Really well-played second quarter by the Pearl River Wildcats, although the second-string quarterback, V.J. Miller, came in and gave the Lion offense a spark. Probably it was their best drive of the first half. Really highlighted by a 10-yard scramble run on a key third down situation. Had the Wildcats been able to get the sack right there, probably would have forced a long field goal attempt out of East Mississippi. But the 10-yard scramble moved the sticks and got East Mississippi into the red zone, and they were able to cash in a few plays later. A 2-yard run by V.J. Miller. That was appropriate since he was the one who kept the drive alive. The PAT was good, and East Mississippi, with 8:20 left to go in the first half, led by a score of 14-8. That looked like where the half would end scoring-wise. On the final possession of the first half, East Mississippi, basically with about 30 seconds left in the half, decided to run the football in their own territory on a 3rd and 7, and were going to probably take it right into the half, but they got an 8-yard run on 3rd and 7, moved the chains, and decided to keep the pedal down with less than 30 seconds to go. On the very next play, the Wildcat defense forced an incompletion, but they were guilty of a 15-yard personal foul infraction that moved the football into Pearl River territory, and on the final play of the first half, V.J. Miller fouled a Hail Mary into the far side of the end zone, and Dontario Drummond answered the prayer. A 44-yard Hail Mary touchdown reception at the buzzer. Whew, that seems like a punch in the gut that we'll see if Pearl River can recover from. The PAT was good. East Mississippi, maybe not deservedly, but in the end, they lead at 21-8. This high-powered East Mississippi offense that has put up 50 points last week. They are one of the best offenses that are in the nation, if not the best. Last week, going for just under 600 yards against Hines. Tonight, before the Hail Mary, Kelly only had 160 yards of offense in that first half. Ended up with 218, 87 on the ground, 131 through the air. Again, though, remember, 44 were from the Hail Mary. Pearl River on the other side, a little stymied in that second quarter, only getting 44 total yards, but had 132 in the first half, 53 on the ground, 79 through the air.
Our halftime show brought to you by Hardee's here in Poplarville, not far from the PRCC campus. And don't forget your student or faculty ID, good for a discount each and every day you go to Hardee's. Whether you want that quarter-pound or half-pound burger on those fresh baked buns, Hardee's Hamburgers voted the best-tasting hamburger in America. Hardee's proud to support Pearl River Wildcat football and to sponsor the halftime show. The kickoff for the second half is underway. The floater will come down at about the 10-yard line, fielded on the run, coming right, streaking right straight up the middle and running into traffic at about the 30-yard line, where Pearl River will start 1st and 10. The lights definitely having an influence now on this game. Keontae Payton, the sophomore wide receiver out of Brandon, on the return for Pearl River. The Wildcats have the football, 1st and 10 at their own 30.
Kelly, this might be the fan in me talking, who's watched probably way more football than I should have, but this drive almost seems imperative that, if anything, to get a few first downs, because you feel like if East Mississippi, after that, what happened at the end of the half, gets a 3-and-out and a quick score, this could go downhill quickly.
Hand off to Thompson up the middle, and does get some nice blocking over left tackle, and they head for about a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 upcoming. We'll be updating the Anderson Design Center MACJC scoreboard here momentarily. Pearl River heading to the road for the first time next week, as they will travel to Wesson to take on the Colin Wolves. 2nd down and 7. Again to the ground, but Thompson this time is thrown backwards. A loss on the play. Eric Kitchen, the defensive tackle out of South Panola, with the tackle there, loses the yards that he gained. back to the original line of scrimmage, brings up a 3rd down and 10.
Thompson tried to bounce it outside. He saw a lot of green, and there was a lot of green grass out there, but a great tackle at getting the 3-yard loss. And here we go with the 3rd and long. Big play right here, in my humble opinion, for this Pearl River offense.
In the first quarter, those defenders for East Mississippi were being sealed off at the line. But very quickly, as the blitz was on, Cooper Callis had to unload the football incomplete. The punting unit will be dispatched here.
Kelly, we're going to call that just beyond 10 yards to go. But again, 3rd and very long. Simply put, Cooper Callis, when not behind the chains or having long yardage to go, at quarterback, 10 for 14 for 79 yards. When he's had over 10 yards to go in any down for a first down, throwing the football 0 for 5 with a pick. When you've got, if you can keep it in control and with short yardage, he's been successful. Anything with long distance, Pearl River hasn't been able to find any completions.
Mosley with a low liner there that will be taken at the 30. Actually moving DJ Clayton backward. A great block brings him free down the far sideline. Clayton hurdles and then loses the football at about the 25-yard line.
Kelly, it was a great block, and I don't even know if that's legal anymore in the NFL. You know, those crackback blocks like that, but he got in front of the pursuing special teams players from Pearl River, and in the end, that one single block picked up 45 yards on the return.
13:27 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. First time that East Mississippi has had the football here in the second half. V.J. Miller again at quarterback. Twin receivers to the near side, including Braden Boykin. Miller looking left this time, though, has plenty of time to throw, and his receiver makes the catch at about the 11-yard line and then ridden out of bounds. And that making the catch is Julian Connor, the 5'11 freshman out of Hattiesburg High.
And Kelly, sometimes you wish you were wrong, but this is exactly what I was talking about. A quick 3 and out, and if East Mississippi gets the score, you almost feel like that last play of the second half is carrying over into this 3rd quarter.
Miller again wants to throw. He has had very little pressure in the pocket. Now flushed, throws the ball short of his intended receiver. That time he was trying to find Adrian Miller out of West Marion High School. Well defended there by the Wildcats secondary. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10 with 12:57 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. East Mississippi with that dagger to the emotional heart of Pearl River there, the last play of the 2nd quarter. Handoff, starting up the middle, then getting out to his left is Deion McIntosh. McIntosh into the end zone. That is a East Mississippi touchdown. McIntosh inside the Red Burrito red zone and taking it into the end zone for 6. Red Burrito inside Hardee's in Poplarville, bringing the south of the border favorites north of the border. Red Burrito, proud to support Pearl River athletics. So Josh Smith on to add the extra point out of the hold of C.J. Goler. Smith's kick is up, and it's good. With 12:50 left to go here in the 3rd quarter, it's now East Mississippi 28 and Pearl River 8. Let's look at other scores on the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. In the first quarter, Hines is leading Delta 14-0. That game being played at Mississippi College because of wet turf. East Central leading Itawamba 27-7. That is in the 2nd quarter. East Central comes here in 2 weeks. Colin and Northeast Mississippi have gone to the 2nd quarter. No score up in Boonville. Gulf Coast and Coahoma tied at 7 up at Coahoma tonight. Jones 14, Holmes 10. That's in 2nd quarter up in Ellisville. And Northwest Mississippi leading Southwest 7-0 in the 2nd. That's down in Summit. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center, just off of Highway 98 in the Oak Grove area of Hattiesburg. Wobbler that will wiggle its way out of bounds. So the Wildcats will get some decent field position. Really one of the few mistakes that East Mississippi has made here in the latter part of the game. Ought to be an interesting matchup next week when the Wildcats go to Colin because the defensive coordinator for Colin is none other than the big game hunter, William Jones, who will be there calling the shots after a year at, or 2 years rather, at Shorter University, a Division II school. And the big game hunter is back in the MACJC. So the Wildcats will get back to work. Trailing 28-8 with 12:50 left to go here in the third quarter. Wildcats with twin receivers to the near side of the field. Cooper Callis again calling the shots. Play action, rolls to his left, can't find anybody. Now Callis will run it himself, getting up the sideline, and does the second base slide up at about the 41, rather than take a lick there from Jaquez Atkins. Atkins, the sophomore from Starkville, was ready to lay a lick on Callis, but he headed to the turf, and probably advisedly so.
Well, we kind of saw in the second quarter that adjustment by the East Mississippi defense where the Pearl River looks one way but is planning on going back behind them. They are all over those throwback plays.
Handoff to Thompson, who gets out across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. That'll move the chains. Ron Thompson, the talented running back out of what was then Bassfield High School, now Jeff Davis County High School.
And Thompson is the only one who's found any success on the ground. Everybody who's not named Ron Thompson has run for less than 10 yards combined in this ball game. That includes the 5-yard scramble by Cooper Callis a moment ago, while Ron Thompson, 12 carries, 54 yards so far in the ball game.
While the officials try to get the chains in order along that far side. Again, the NFL begins the season in earnest tonight. The Atlanta Falcons, the nemesis of the New Orleans Saints, will play at Philadelphia, the Super Bowl champions. And, you know, normally after a team wins a Super Bowl, you hear a lot of talk about that team, you know, repeating. But the Eagles really banged up going into game one, so a lot of people aren't necessarily high on the Eagle chances.
Yeah, the uncertainty of Carson Wentz's health just in general. I mean, that ACL tear, that's a one-year process essentially, and the last thing you want to do is rush your guy who you might feel like can quarterback you for 10 to 15 years back onto the field. But Nick Foles has, Philadelphia's got some tough fans, and they didn't like anything he did in the preseason. So it's going to be interesting when the real bullets start to fly tonight to see how Nick Foles, the Super Bowl MVP, does for Philadelphia.
Both teams retreated to their sidelines, but the referee said, look, no timeout has been called here. Let's get back to playing football. 1st and 10 for Pearl River. Cooper Callis again wants the football and hands it right straight up the middle to Thompson. Maybe gets a gain of a couple. But again, Pearl River methodically trying to get back in the game. And here a late flag comes in, a very late flag by the White Hat himself. Referee Rick Mitchell threw that flag after the play was over. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Maybe East Mississippi getting a little chippy there.
Well, and I tell you what, it was against Terrence, excuse me, it was against Daryl Middleton of East Mississippi. 15-yard mark-off. He's come off the field. I don't know if he was ejected or not on that play.
Probably said some of the magic words that always got the soap in your mouth as a kid. But the chains get moved. And very uncharacteristic of East Mississippi, wouldn't you say, for 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. I say that very tongue-in-cheek. And now the Wildcats will, well, one referee is pointing to the Wildcats, another one is pointing to the Lions.
Boy, and Buddy Stevens is irate on the far sidelines. I don't know what he's mad about, but he may end up with a flag himself. He called this timeout, Kelly, just to argue this point, whatever he's trying to make.
Buddy Stevens, who was an assistant coach here at Pearl River, and then went to East Mississippi. And actually, William Jones, we talked about him earlier. William Jones also went to East Mississippi and was the defensive coordinator up there. And then William Jones came back to Pearl River to become the head coach.
East Mississippi 75-5 in their last 80 games. Buddy Stevens with East Mississippi 99-13 overall. 4 national championships. And to be quite honest with you, Kelly, they won it last year and they won it 3 years before that. The 2 years in the middle, they probably took their national championship chance away themselves with that melee against the Delta back in 15. It banned them from postseason play that year, and the next year, if you remember, had to play all freshmen for 2 games as a penalty, lost one of those, ended up number 3 in the nation, and not able to play for a national title.
1st and 10 for Pearl River, trailing 28-8 with 11:33 left to go in the 3rd quarter. A high snap, but he is able to pull it down and get it to Ron Thompson, who was brought down behind the line of scrimmage, a loss of about 4 yards on the play. Officially making the stop for the Lions is E.J. Woods, the freshman linebacker out of Natchez High School, where he was a Bulldog.
Well, we saw those perimeter runs find a little bit of success in the first half, getting outside the hash marks. But again, East Mississippi saw that, made some adjustments right there. You just saw a wave of defenders continuing to string Thompson out until one brought him down.
2nd down and about 15 for Pearl River. Thompson split to the left. This time Callis wants to throw, dumps it across the middle, but had to get rid of it earlier than his receiver was ready to receive it. Donovan Hickman, the tight end, was able to slide out there, but couldn't get turned around in time to make the reception. Incomplete. Brings up a 3rd down and 14 for the River Cats.
And Kelly, Cooper Callis started the ball game 8 for 10 for 68 yards. Since then, only 2 for 10 for 11.
Cooper Callis to Pearl River by way of the University of Missouri of the Southeast Conference. 3rd down. Twin receivers to the near side include Tyler Polk and K.J. Breland, who's been pretty quiet tonight. Hayden Bryce has gotten most of the receptions for Pearl River. Callis again to that sideline, and I just mentioned the name of K.J. Breland, and there he makes the catch. Short of the 1st down.
Basically got about half of what he needed, Kelly, and Pearl River, of course, down 20. Why not? Going to go for it right here, although there is a little...
It looks like some chin gassing going on down there. And I'm sure one of the things that Ted Egger told his guys is, look, this is a standard operating procedure sometime for the Lions. So try to keep your cool. 4th down and 9 for Pearl River at the 37-yard line of East Mississippi. Lions lead it by 20. Callis wants to throw. That ball is thrown, but behind the receiver at about the 25-yard line. And again, Callis has been rushed, and look out, we got a little more extra activity at the line of scrimmage, but no flags come down, and players will retreat to their respective sidelines. It'll go over on downs. The Lions will take over 1st and 10 with a 20-point lead.
And Kelly, East Mississippi has their swagger back. That play at the end of the first half really gave them some confidence in the start of this 3rd quarter, and as you said, standard operating procedure, part of that swagger is what you're seeing now. Is they play chippy, they play with a chip on their shoulder, to say it politely, and they want to try to knock you off of your game, so to speak. And we're starting to see that right now with a little extracurricular activity on these tackles and in these scrums.
V.J. Miller again at quarterback, a quick pass up ahead to Braden Boykin is through his hands, incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10 upcoming. What I'm surprised at immediately here is with a 20-point lead that the Lions don't just try to run the football.
Oh, they want to
have the foot on the gas.
Yeah, the Lions, and this is just, again, this is just who they are. They don't want to win by 20. They want to win by 40, and that is the case. And so there's still a lot more to be done as far as they're concerned before they're going to be pleased with this victory if they get it.
Miller with all kinds of time. Now will run it himself across the 50 and escort it out at about the 40-yard line. Boy, I'm very impressed with V.J. Miller, the sophomore out of Fulton, Mississippi.
And what a job by Buddy Stevens. You don't win 99 games for nothing. His guy, Messiah DeWeaver, starting quarterback. Kelly, last week he was 25 for 38 for 323, 4 TDs, no picks. He started out a little bit slow, and he didn't have any trouble pulling him out of the ball game and putting V.J. Miller in, and he has run this offense much more efficiently.
Interestingly, V.J. Miller from Itawamba County AHS, I mean, right there in Itawamba Junior College's backyard, but yet goes to East Mississippi. Forward for about a 5-yard gain before he was wrestled down. And the man from Pearl River that kind of made that stop, looks like to me, was Redante Womack. And he was a little slow getting up. 2nd down and 5 with 9:28 left to go in the 3rd quarter. And now the Lions call timeout.
It's their second one they've already used here, and we've still got 9:26 to go, 3rd quarter.
28-8, East Mississippi over Pearl River. Back in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com. Updating the Anderson Design Center scoreboard, Hines continues to lead Delta 14-0. East Central over Itawamba 27-7. Gulf Coast has extended the lead over Coahoma 16-7. It's Jones 14, Holmes 12. 12 making a game out of that one. Northeast Mississippi and Co-Lin are tied at 0s. That is a halftime score. Northwest Mississippi over Southwest 28-0. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 in Hattiesburg. Handoff to Dion McIntosh. McIntosh gets down to about the 20-yard line. He was thrown backwards, but not until getting a 1st down. And I hope that during the timeout, Captain D, that the coaches kind of told their players to settle down a little bit, because you don't want things going on the field that shouldn't be going on in the field. It serves no purpose at all. 1st and 10 for the Lions at the 25 of Pearl River. Play action. Miller lofts it up, looking for a man who's wide open in the end zone. Dontario Drummond. Initially there was coverage there for Pearl River, and then it stopped, and Drummond just kept running, and he was wide open in the corner of the end zone.
It was just a blown coverage right there. The defender just stopped. Just flat stopped it around the 5-yard line, and Dontario Drummond, he's only caught 2 balls tonight, Kelly. He's made the most of both of them. They've both been touchdowns.
Out of Laurel, Mississippi. Laurel plays Petal on Friday night. Panthers trying to prevent going 0-4 for the first time since 1998. The extra point is up, and it's good. With 8:53 left to go in the 3rd quarter, it's East Mississippi 35, Pearl River 8. Back with the kickoff in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com. $8:53 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. The Wildcat offense ready to try to get something untracked here. Keontae Payton back to receive it along with Tyler Polk.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Tavis Williams get a chance here coming up shortly, as Cooper Callis has cooled down just a little bit throwing the football.
At the 2. Looking to go to the far side of the field. Now coming to the near side, Tyler Polk. Now check that. That is Savaris Snow. Snow on the return, up to about the 29-yard line. He's an exciting young player, that freshman defensive back out of Newton High School.
Well, you just see the athleticism there, though, of East Mississippi, because normally as a return guy, you get through the first hole and then made somebody miss. You can make a you can make a big play out of that. He makes the one of the tacklers miss and thinks he can get to the outside, and he's just snowed under by a swarm of Lion special team tacklers.
T.J. Wash now, the freshman running back out of Scott Central, split to the right of Callis. Pump fakes, tries to go down the sideline, has a man open, and it's caught down the sideline by K.J. Breland. And here comes a penalty marker late.
Yeah, the flag was really late, Kelly, but at least it came out, because that was well well after Breland was out of bounds. And so really nice. Give the offensive line the credit, Kelly, a lot of credit, because it took a long time for that play to develop, but it was the protection was there for Cooper Callis. He ends up making the very nice throw and catch for 27 yards, tack on 15 more. It's going to be a 42-yard pickup, and Pearl River now with a chance to get some points on the board.
They're watching from Missouri tonight. And who would you guess they're watching from Missouri for? Cooper Callis, of course, from the 573 area code. 1st and 10 for Pearl River at the 29-yard line of East Mississippi. 8:34 left to go here in the third. The Wildcats scored their 8 points and led this ball game. But obviously the Lions have scored 35 unanswered. Callis now rolls, tries to throw it out to the sideline up at about the 25, incomplete. Good try there. Hayden Bryce was the intended receiver, had to come back for it, but had to come back just a little bit too far.
Well, again, on the stat sheet, the quarterback, there's another incompletion. That's a good incompletion, Kelly. It was, he was just had a free rusher coming at him. There was all he could do to stay away from the sack and then throw it somewhere where he actually gave his receiver a chance to make the catch on that, which is really good when normally just throwing it incomplete and out of bounds wouldn't have been so bad. So a really nice try there by Cooper Callis under some serious duress.
2nd down and 10. They'll try to throw it again. To the sideline, it was tipped and nearly intercepted. It was originally handled there by K.J. Breland. It got out of his hands and nearly into the hands of Swinney, the defensive back out of Yazoo County. And here comes another penalty marker down. And this one might go against PRC.
Well, it looked like there was a miscommunication between Callis and his receiver, as he thought he kind of threw it to the inside. The receiver broke to the outside, and the ball, as you said, the defender almost was shocked that it came right to him. It almost hit him in the shoulder pad, but something was said after the play, and so the 15-yard penalty they just received in their favor is now marked back, except for the fact that when they got it, it was 1st and 10, and now this moves it all the way back to the 44-yard line. It is, and the play counts, by the way, so it is 3rd down now and 25.
And this is what I was saying a little bit earlier. With all these now personal foul penalties going on, I hope that these coaches are going to be able to keep things under control here, because you can just tell by the body language there's a lot of gum flapping going on down there between both of the teams. Callis, again, has to just get rid of this one as he is flushed from the pocket.
And again, when East Mississippi has you behind or has Pearl River in long distances to go, they just pin their ears back and come after them. Again, we gave you a stat earlier. Go ahead and add another one to it. With more than 10 yards to go tonight, Cooper Callis is 0 for 6 with an interception. With under 10 yards to go, he's an efficient 12 of 19 for 111 yards. So right there, again, what can you do? When they send the house after you, you have no time to do anything but to throw it away.
I think this is Will Lang back there to punt. The scrum kick takes a Pearl River bounce back at about the
dangerous decision
10-yard line. Good coverage there by Pearl River. On the return was Swinney, but he was gobbled up immediately.
Really good punt right there. 4th time this year. That was actually Mosley on the punt.
Okay. Daryl Sims made the tackle for Pearl River. And again, some of the we're obviously trying to do the best we can, but the color schemes for Pearl River tonight, the numbers are very difficult to see.
They are.
You got dark numbers up against the
maroon
dark
up against the black is
right.
Isn't the easiest for the old folks to see. They gotta change that just for us.
1st and 10. Again, at the quarterbacking helm is V.J. Miller, who is making a good case for himself. More playing time tonight. Miller across the middle throws a dart that is hauled in by Rashad Eads. He's brought down at the 30-yard line. In coverage was Kyron Norwood for Pearl River, but that's a gain and a 1st down up to the 29-yard line. Again, the Lions lead 35-8, but as David mentioned, the foot will be completely on the gas pedal for the rest of the game. Little pass out to the flat to McIntosh, but he was brought down for a loss on the play.
It was a good thing he handled that, Kelly. That's actually what the referee's signal was, a lateral. So that technically goes down as a running loss on the play, but had he not handled the throw / pitch, that would have been a lateral and the ball would have been live.
And I think Eli Stringfellow came up with the tackle there. Second down and about 13 with 6:55 left to go in the third quarter. Miller to this sideline, has his man up at the 35. Good tackling by Pearl River, doesn't allow him to advance anymore. That's Eads. Making the tackle is Snow for Pearl River.
Another completion. VJ Miller now 14 of 22 for 177. That goes for 10. Makes it a third and manageable for the Lions. Third down and 4. Eads has now got 4 catches as he is the 7th different receiver to make a reception for the Lions tonight.
And the Lions have been playing giddy up all night long offensively, trying to wear the Pearl River defense down. Third down play, throw, leading the receiver, caught down at the 35-yard line. Looks like making the catch there is Travion Jones, the sophomore out of Wilkinson County High School. That'll move the chains and get the football deep into Pearl River territory at about the 35-yard line.
Kelly, that was the best throw of the night by VJ Miller. I mean, the defense, he didn't have much of a window to throw to right there, but he put that right on the money. Another 35 yards, taking him over 200, but that was a beautiful throw by VJ Miller.
VJ Miller, not the letters VJ, but VIJAY, like the former PGA Touring pro VJ Singh. First and 10 for Miller, who wants the football, wants to get back to work. Looks to the right side, lofts this one toward the sideline. Man is there, caught at about the 12-yard line. Making the catch there is DJ Clayton. Clayton's first catch of the night. He's from Kemper County out of Porterville, Mississippi.
Hold everything. There is a flag down back in the backfield, but I believe it's a roughing the passer penalty, and it is against Pearl River. Hands to the face on the tackle. So a great throw and catch right there that picked up 18, and they'll move it half the distance to the goal for East Mississippi.
And Miller will have the Lions ready to go as soon as the football is placed in play. They'll make half the distance to about the 5.5-yard line. First and goal for Last Chance U. They lead at 35-8 here with 5:46 left to go in quarter number 3 here at Dobie Holden. Wildcats head to the road for the first time next week, where they will travel to the Wolf Den in Scuba, Mississippi, to take on the Wolfpack in their first South Division game. First and 10, Miller has McIntosh split to his left. And they give it to McIntosh, who tries the right side, just follows his blockers, dives inside the 5, perhaps about the 4.5. Call it a gain of 1.
And Kelly, the second half has gone. This is one of those situations where, again, the last play of the first half has almost dictated this entire third quarter. There was a hangover effect that halftime break could not shake off.
Miller to throw. Puts that one up in the corner of the end zone. Incomplete. Jason Brownlee out of West Point was the intended receiver. Good defensive coverage there by the Wildcats.
There's a whole lot of hand checking by both players. It was almost like, if you throw the flag, who do you call it on? So they just let it play out, and it falls incomplete.
And I would really love to call more Pearl River names, but I don't want to make a mistake and give somebody credit it's just so difficult to see those numbers, especially now under the lights. It is third down and goal for the Lions at the Pearl River 4-yard line. McIntosh is to the right of Miller. Miller rolls, wants to throw, did at the last second, trying to find McIntosh, who had swung out of the backfield. But I can tell you there that on the coverage was Marshall Cosma.
I can't believe there was not a flag on that play, Kelly. It looked like one of the Pearl River defensive linemen might have come across a little early, but if he did not, the left tackle surely started a little early, but No flag called, and it's an incompletion. It looks like the field goal unit's going to come out for a little practice work.
And this will be Josh Smith. They carry two, Josh Smith and Johnny Moss. This will be a 22-yard attempt from the right hash mark. The kick is up, and the kick is good. With 4:48 left to go in the third quarter, East Mississippi 38, Pearl River 8. We'll have the kickoff when we return in a moment. You're watching Wildcat Football on PRCCmedia.com. Four minutes, 48 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Lions will kick it away to the Wildcats. Retreating for Pearl River to make the return is Savaris Snow and Keontae Payton on the return for PRC. .38 in a row the Lions have put up. Pearl River hopes to stem that tide right here. The 20 and slipping and falling, getting up to about the 24-yard line. I think that was Peyton on the return. So 1st and 10 for Pearl River. Kevin Lomax has checked in tonight, watching the ball game on PRCCmedia.com. We'd love to hear from you as well. 601-310-7077. We've heard from a lot from New York and Florida tonight, and a lot of PRC alumni all over the country. 1st down and 10. Cooper Callis still at the controls for Pearl River. Give and go over left tackle, not a lot of room over there to develop. And that is Jesse Purnell. Jesse Purnell, a product of Poplarville High School here. The Hornets are really good. 2-1 on this year.
Purnell just hadn't been able to get untracked in the first two ball games this year. He's actually run for negative yardage on 5 carries.
2nd down, Callis to throw. This one to the sideline, and that play is made. And it looks like Hayden Bryce with the reception over there, a gain of about 9. And really, Captain D, the only yardage consistently through the air that Pearl River has been able to garner has been to the extreme sides of the field.
Yeah, and Bryce has got 6 catches, KJ Breedlin with 5. So 11 of the 13 catches between those two players tonight.
3rd down and a yard, clock moving with 3:45 left to go here in the third quarter. Pearl River trying to avoid an 0-2 start, although, again, it does not South Division games. Quick pass out to the left. That was, they say incomplete, but that one could have been very close to a lateral as well. And Callis is really pulling the triggers quickly to avoid being hounded there. Tyler Polk was the intended receiver.
Well, this East Mississippi defense plays with a lead a lot, and they're good at it, and they just play freely now. I mean, earlier in the ball game, Pearl River was able to get them flowing one way and coming back the other, or to able to get them on the perimeter as they were trying to bunch up the middle. But now they know Pearl River's probably not going to run the ball, if at all, very little, and they are pinning their ears back and coming after the Wildcats.
Mosley, a nice punt that squirts out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. We talked at the top of the webcast about the defensive front for East Mississippi. 5 of their defensive linemen are all Division I guys. And Daryl Middleton on the left side of that defensive front, this guy's a freshman now. He's 6'7", 290 from Knoxville, Tennessee. They used to have an SEC team in Knoxville.
I know I bring this up every now and then, but it's just the size of the players. William the Refrigerator Perry was this giant back in the mid-'80s, not
so
in the
we thought.
1900s. He only weighed 305, 310. You know, and now you've got freshmen at 6'7", 290, and that's just standard operating procedure.
Miller across the middle, incomplete. The intended receiver there was Braden Boykin. Incomplete.
Boy, what a job Miller has done coming on in relief of Messiah DeWeaver. 16 of 27, Kelly, throwing the football for 231. He's pitched in 59 more on the ground with a rushing touchdown, so he's accounted for 3 scores and just under 300 yards of offense. We still got 3:16 to go in the third.
Cantrell Banks was the linebacker there for Pearl River that made the play. Now Miller tries to throw the ball out of bounds and was nearly intercepted. Snow had a beat on it here at about the 32-yard line and nearly picked it off.
Well, Kelly, he got a little cute on that one, didn't he? Instead of just firing it out there, he kind of held it to the last second. He not only almost had his, because he just kind of flung it down low, intercepted. He took a shot too. So might want to think about a half a step earlier, going ahead and getting rid of that instead of trying to hold it on to the last minute.
3rd down and 10 for the Lions. Man in motion to the far side is Braden Boykin. Try the screen. The screen is set up, but defended beautifully by Pearl River. Making the catches for East Mississippi is Keon Moore out of Harrison Central High School. But Pearl River sniffed it out beautifully. 4th down and 10. And will the real East Mississippi punter please stand up?
Well, yeah, actually, if you can remember, I know it was a long time ago, the Wildcats forced 2 punts on the first 3 possessions as they got off to such a great start. But the East Mississippi offense has been rolling pretty smoothly since then until now. Finally, another punting situation coming up.
Josh Smith back there at about the 11-yard line. Gets through his hands. Pearl River defensively is there to drop him in the end zone, and the Wildcats have a safety.
Oh, and that's a bad break. I mean, it looked like he had actually corralled the football, Kelly, around the 1-yard line. Very rarely do you see the backwards momentum be given, but because he picked it up and I guess just didn't fall on it, the referee said, hey, you're trying to run the football, so he actually gave him those 2 steps backwards. Who knows if he was subconsciously trying to get into the end zone and take the safety, but in the end, you would much rather have it 1st and goal on the 1 than to get the 2-point safety, but the Wildcats will get the football back.
I was going to ask that same question. Would a kicker have enough presence of mind to know I can't fall on the ball here because they'll get it on the 2. I'd rather give them the 2 points and then take our chances.
I mean, you know what? I want to give him the benefit of the doubt right there because he easily could have corralled it because he knew some people were closing in on him pretty quickly, but it seemed like he took the football and actually fought his way into the end zone to get the safety call.
And, of course, with the safety, not only does the River get 2 points, they'll get the football back. Keontae Payton, and again, Savaris Snow. But when you see Snow return kicks in practices and punts, he is dynamic. And he's got a 2-year contract, so to speak. So with the safety, the football is kicked at the 20. It's a good kick, and Snow will field this one at the 20 to the 25, the 30, cuts it back up the 35. Wiggles away from a couple of defenders, gets up to about the 37 forward progress. And that's where Pearl River will get it with 2 minutes, 11 seconds left to go here in the 3rd quarter. East Mississippi leading Pearl River 38-10. So we'll see if Cooper Callis will come back to the controls for those of you into alliteration, or if we'll see Tavis Williams or Tavis Williams. And it's Cooper. Here comes Callis.
It's just such a difficult situation for an offense to be in, Kelly, against the #1 team in the nation who's pinning their ears back and coming after you. And you're down 28. They know you're going to throw it. And all you got to do is just keep firing and hope you can find some holes.
Callis does throw. It's caught. And the Lions will give the Wildcats that catch. Donovan Hickman on the reception, but only got back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, and Kelly, the Wildcats have not been able to do anything really down the field. And so not only is East Mississippi coming after them, all the defenders are playing up tight because they're not worried right now that Pearl River's going to go over the top.
And now we've got a penalty marker thrown in the defensive backfield. Illegal substitution, too many Lions on the field. As if the 11 aren't enough to handle with a 12th one. If it were up to me, players of that caliber would be illegal with just 11 of them. But
the score is definitely not indicative of how this first 2 quarters up until the last play.
Absolutely
if you're
right.
joining us late, this was an absolute heavyweight slugfest for basically 29 minutes and 59 seconds up until the very last second of the first half.
Now we've got movement on the left side of the line. Ivory Scott, the sophomore out of Bonneville, Louisiana.
2 steps forward, 2 steps back is the – no, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That was 5 yards forward, 5 yards back right there as Pearl River just gives those 5 yards right back to East Mississippi.
Ivory Scott is a big dude. He's a sophomore, 6'4", 315 pounds. So when I talk to him, I'm going to say it didn't look like to me you moved. Cooper Callis rolls to his right. Throws. That is caught. The Lions doing a much better job of giving the receivers those few yards, but then making the tackles once contact is made. Shavoki Harrington, the defensive back out of Natchez with the tackle there for East Mississippi. Brings up a 3rd down and about 6 with 42 seconds left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Pearl River trailing East Mississippi 38-10.
Bryce with another reception, his 7th of the evening.
Callis lofts this one up toward the sideline, and this ball is intercepted by Swinney, but a penalty marker comes down at the 50.
They say he caught up with that? I guess so. I thought he bobbled it on, but he was bobbling it on his way to the ground, but able to corral it. It was Kilio Sweeney.
Yes.
But the penalty thrown at the 50-yard line, you'd have to think this is some sort of illegal contact against the defense.
Or, yeah, a hold, because Callis threw it up in the neighborhood where nobody was close, but it could be a reason why the receiver wasn't close, that he was held. And they're marching down the field. So it would appear, although we have not gotten any indication from Rick Mitchell, that it is going against the Scooby-Doos. The Scuba-Doos, I guess we should say.
And there's your hold. Good call on that, Kelly. Obviously, some sort of defensive penalty was there by our count, unofficial, but that's the 11th penalty on the night against East Mississippi.
28 seconds and counting left to go here in the 3rd. It's a fresh set of downs for Pearl River. The Wildcats have the football at the 48-yard line of East Mississippi. This is the first time since 2013 that these 2 teams have played, and of course they're scheduled to play again next year up in Scuba. Low snap, and Callis has to go to the ground just to stay on top, just to keep the possession. LaShawn Paulino Bell out of Fort Lauderdale with the tackle, and that brings to an end the 3rd quarter of play. 3 in the books here at Dobie Holden. It's East Mississippi 38, Pearl River 10. Back with the 4th quarter in a moment. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com. We want to thank some of our sponsors making our Pearl River Wildcat live stream available to you. Pine Belt Chevrolet on Highway 98 as you head into the Oak Grove area of Hattiesburg. Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, the largest retail vendor of recreational vehicles in the state. Hardee's and the Red Burrito here in Poplarville. Don't forget your student ID for a discount every day. The Poplarville Eye Center, glad to have them along for their first year of sponsorship. Wish we were seeing a different result, but Poplarville Eye Center can always have you seeing as good as possible. On the dive play, right straight ahead, no gain on the play by Thompson. How many yards does Ron Thompson have tonight, David? I know you've been on top of it, but he had a couple of nice runs in the first half. But
he's got 15 carries for 52 yards, but when you look at Pearl River running the football, they only have 55. So every bit of the rushing yards essentially has been toted by Ron Thompson. In fact, through 3 quarters, Kelly, Pearl River with 179 yards of offense, that's 55 on the ground, 124 through the air. East Mississippi, though, got it in gear in that third quarter. Let's go back to the play before the half. On basically 2 quarters of play, this Pearl River defense had held this absolutely potent offense to just 174 yards of offense. But that last play of the first half, combined with the entirety of the third quarter, 222 yards in just that 15 minutes in one play. Officially in the third quarter, it was 52 on the ground, 126 through the air for 178 yards overall. East Mississippi now approaching the 400 mark, 396 for the Lions.
And the Wildcats have called timeout to talk some things over. Remember last week that East Mississippi shut out the Hines Eagles, and Hines only had 81 yards of offense, but -4 on the ground. So compared to what Hines was able to do, Pearl River has put up some big numbers tonight.
You know, sometimes movies make alternate endings, Kelly. They play the one, and then 5 years later you hear, oh, here's how we made it when we decided. I would have loved to have seen an alternate ending of this had that Hail Mary fallen incomplete to see how this second half would have played out, because obviously this isn't it.
It really was an emotional dagger to the heart of Pearl River. 3rd down and about 15 for the Wildcats now. Well, Callis and company have a play in the book here. Throws it out to the sideline. This ball is picked off. Kayla Swinney, the defensive back out of Bentonia.
Well, Swinney had one taken away just a couple of plays ago with the penalty on the hold by one of his teammates. Well, this time he gets it, no flag down. Second interception on the night thrown by Callis.
But again, what was that, 3rd and 12, something like that?
It was, Kelly, and again we go back to that statistic. It is what it is. I mean, obviously being in 3rd and 12, 15, 18 is not easy. But when it's been 3rd and more than 10 yards to go, Kelly, Cooper Callis is now 0 for 8 with 2 interceptions.
Hand off on the speed sweep to the far side to Caleb Reddix. Reddix down to about the 44-yard line of Pearl River. Reddix, the sophomore out of St. Martin High School, where he was a Yellow Jacket. He actually played at Gulf Coast last year. 2nd down and 5 for the Lions. Clock moving with 13:47 left to go in this one. Scuba just north of Meridian, about, 40 minutes? Something like that. Might have been a little movement, no flag. And this pass is picked off the other way. Back into the ball game for the Lions was Messiah DeWeaver. And the Wildcats pick it off.
Well, we got a flag down, Kelly, and East Mississippi's pointing toward Pearl River.
Snow made the interception for PRC.
Boy, Messiah DeWeaver is hoping for a second chance here, and they are going to get it. Still way off sides against Pearl River, and they needed 5, and they got 5. But more importantly, it takes the interception off the board, and Messiah DeWeaver is breathing a sigh of relief. I mean, V.J. Miller has almost ripped the job out of his hands in front of our eyes tonight, getting a chance himself to come back in after a 2-for-4 start for 25 yards, and on the first throw, it's an interception, but he's going to get the old playground do-over with one of the Pearl River defenders lining up offsides.
But, in the pregame meeting with the media, Ted Egger said, you got to remember, we're still young. And these are some young mistakes. I mean, lining up offsides, that's as the handoff goes up the middle to Dion McIntosh. So just when your defense comes up, or you think that the defense has come up with a big play and will get your defense a breather, then they've got to come back out on the field because somebody lined up offsides.
Yeah, there's a difference between the offsides that causes the interception. That had nothing to do with that interception, but in the end, it had a whole lot to do with it because it took it off the board.
Gain of a long one, 2nd down and 9, as we get to the 13-minute mark left in the ball game. Back in the football game is DeWeaver. Messiah DeWeaver can't find anybody open, so he'll run it right straight up the gut and pick up about another 7. And look out, we got some little scuffling going on. And quickly the referees are all in there breaking things up. And you see the Wildcat players kind of holding their teammates back and saying, everybody just calm down here. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
And Coach Egger's going to call a timeout, try to calm his players down. Look, as you said, Kelly, this is the first time these two teams have gotten together in quite a while. If you're a North Division team and you see this every year, you're just like, come on. You know, we know this is what you're going to do. We know this. But when you have not played East Mississippi, as you were saying earlier, a team with a 30-point lead, you would expect them to run the football. You actually said it with a 20-point lead. You'd expect them to run the football. They're not running the football. They're throwing it. They want more points. That 20-point wins are not good enough. They want 40 and 50-point wins. This is just who they are. You can call it unsportsmanlike. You can call it, hey, tough luck, stop them. Whatever side of the line that you fall on, it doesn't matter. They are who they are.
Right.
They've got 4 national championships under the reign of Buddy Stevens. They're the defending national champions. They're the #1 team in the country. So they ain't going to change it. I mean, if it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it things. But if you're Pearl River in this situation, you're frustrated. The defense has got pride. They know that if they that one play kind of turned the whole tide. They had this team on the ropes, so to speak, especially under wraps for how explosive they are for 2 quarters. So they're a little frustrated. You just don't want anybody to get thrown out and not be available for next week's game, which is the important game because it's South Division play.
Kelly Sander along with the ghost of Dennis Green calling on the headsets with me. They are who we thought they were. 3rd down and about 4. Big hole and big trouble for Pearl River as Deion McIntosh streaks to the end zone for another touchdown.
Well, that's the first time, really the entire ball game, Kelly, they have had any sort of big run of any kind. I mean, the Wildcat defense, despite the fact they gave up quite a few passing yards there in the 3rd quarter, but that's really the first big run that they've given up. But now McIntosh ripping that one off from 28 yards out. He's got 19 carries for 95 yards quietly tonight, and he's got a couple of touchdowns. Going to look real good in the stat book tomorrow morning.
Josh Smith on to add the extra point. The kick is up. It's a low liner, but actually kind of a wounded duck, but it gets over the...
He is an ugly but effective place kicker, is he not?
45-10. East Mississippi put up 50 last week against Hines, but people who were there said that maybe Buddy Stevens was softening in his old age, but that they did pull off the accelerator just a little bit when they had a 42-0 halftime lead and wound up winning 50-0. 12:26 left to go. Again, thanks to some of our sponsors, including Ramey's grocery store right across here in the College Square is the name of that shopping center right across from campus here at Pearl River on Highway 11. More square footage, which means more products, more great foods at the lowest prices for you at Ramey's. Pine Belt Chrysler Jeep and Pine Belt Chevrolet. Pine Belt Chrysler Jeep on Broadway Drive in Hattiesburg. You might have known it as McMullen Motors for years, but now Pine Belt Chrysler Jeep. So the Lions to kick it away here. Josh Smith from Tupelo High School. Is that where did Elvis go to Tupelo? Was Elvis a Golden Wave? You'd think he was, huh? Up to about the 10-yard line. That is Snow. Snow bounces off of a couple of Lions and gets up to about the 28-yard line. And that's where they'll start 1st and 10. I'm wondering, did Elvis go to high school?
You know, I saw a great two-part documentary on him on HBO, which was super interesting. But, you know, he was pretty young.
Yeah.
It's amazing how young he was when it talks about how he went to Memphis and was hanging out on Beale Street and getting influenced. I'm telling you, to me, Kelly, I remember the documentary. He was 16, 17 years old, so I don't know how much high school he was attending while he was learning how to be the most famous singer of all time.
Williams now the quarterback on the keeper himself. Tavis Williams runs up the middle and maybe got back to the line of scrimmage, but they won't even give him that much. So a loss on the play. Tavis Williams, the sophomore, 6'1", 178-pounder out of Harrison Central, where Patrick Garvin was his offensive coordinator. Casey Kane was his head coach.
Williams got in the game last week against Itawamba, carried it 6 times and threw it 3 times. Still looking for his first completion, though, of the season.
With twin receivers to the near side, both bands kind of trying to overplay each other. Williams can't find anybody to hand it off to, and he gets swarmed under back at the 20-yard line. LaShawn Paulino Bell, the 6'4", 245-pound freshman out of Michigan State University, with the tackle there.
You know, normally when you talk college, junior college, Kelly, just like when you say, hey, Ron Thompson out of Bassfield High School, it's very rare when you have a team where most of the time when you call somebody's name, you're talking about the college that they went to
right.
first and then come back here to only to go back to college.
10:55 and counting here. Pearl River 3rd down and forever. Callis tries to throw that to the sideline. It is intercepted, and taking it back into the end zone is Jaquez Akins, the sophomore defensive back out of Starkville.
Pick 6 right there, Kelly. And again, look, we've given this stat, but it was 3rd and more than 10. So now, again, this is unofficial, Kelly, but on 3rd and over 10 yards to go tonight, Pearl River is 0 for 10 with 2 interceptions. Excuse me. Is it 2 or all 3 interceptions? Either way, 0 for 10 with a couple, if not all 3 picks. The bottom line is that when East Mississippi has you in trouble, they're not happy with just an incompletion with a stop. They are coming after you with full guns loaded.
The extra point is good. That makes it 52-10 in favor of East Mississippi, and I believe we've got a running clock now.
Well, they actually stopped it at 10:07 here, but it's a
and the referee, Rick Mitchell, is telling the clock operator
to run it. It's more than a 35-point lead, and so the clock will go ahead and run. Now, in high school, like in the MAIS, it starts to run and it stays running. In the public school system, actually, if you get back within that total, they'll run the clock normal again.
Right.
But I believe in junior college, they play like the public schools. If you were to score a touchdown and get back within 5 scores or less, they would go back to playing it as per normal. But the bottom line is that with this clock running, Kelly, this game is going to end in an awful quick hurry because you had that touchdown with 10:44 left to go. We're almost going to be at the 9-minute mark before this kickoff even happens.
Pearl River in the first half was on a sailing vessel that they were dealing with winds and all sorts of things to have to deal with, but they were focused and attentive. And then the second half, it's like the winds stopped and they were dead in the water. And part of that you have to credit East Mississippi with. There's the kickoff. To the far side of the field. That, again, is Snow, and he is gobbled up at about the 10-yard line. Making the tackle there is Swinney and Joe Anderson for East Mississippi. And one of the Lions is down there. And now they will stop the clock to deal with the injured player. Pearl River heads to Colin next Thursday night. We'll be with you from Wesson to bring you the play-by-play of Pearl River's first road game of the year. And then 2 weeks from tonight, the East Central Warriors will come to town in another South Division matchup. Again, after tonight, all of the games except for one will be South Division matchups. Let's get you up to date on the Anderson Design Center scoreboard while they're tending to the line on the field. Northwest is in control of Southwest, 31-6. That's in the third quarter in Summit. In the third quarter, Jones 14, Holmes 12. Good ball game up in the campus at Ellisville. MACJC opens with 2 straight home games. At half, Gulf Coast leads Coahoma. Gulf Coast 25, Coahoma 7. It's Hines 21, Mississippi Delta nothing. Boy, the Delta offense. Well, or fence.
It's offensive.
Because there is
very
no O,
offensive.
right? Just
it's just
the fence. And Colin leading Northeast 7-0. That is a third quarter score. And East Central over Itawamba 27-14. That game is up in Itawamba. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center on Highway 98. Right off of Highway 98 in Oak Grove. Alan Anderson himself a Wildcat. Pearl River goes into the Wildcat formation. Tavis Williams runs it out of bounds, but again, a running clock will just keep things moving.
They did stop it for the injury, obviously, but now it's back flipped on again, and I would imagine Pearl River, I would be very surprised to see them throw the ball anymore tonight. I think it's time to run the 8 minutes out and to move on to division play for both of these teams next week.
And as tough as East Mississippi's defensive front has been, particularly in the second half, Colin has got 4 across the front that are Division I guys on the defensive line.
Colin's had a couple of mediocre seasons. They are thinking this year they are trying to get back to the playoffs for sure.
Hand off over left tackle, and again, we're trying to get you some names. It's just so difficult to see those numbers, and we're not that far really off the field. You see who that was, David? Is that Cherry?
I believe that is
Running
Cherry back there at running back. So this is a more, he has credit for a run on the fumble recovery for the touchdown, but that was a more conventional run out of the backfield.
So third down and about 9 for Pearl River. It is Cherry split to the left of Tavis Williams. Now man goes in motion, and they pitch it to Snow. But Snow, as he tries to cut up the field, runs into a bunch of gray jerseys. So no gain on the play. It'll be fourth down now. And you can see kind of a dejected Wildcat bunch coming off the field.
Well,
these two teams will play again next year up in Scuba.
I mean, the outcome of this game is not in doubt, and as a competitor, you want to keep going, but at some point you just want that 6:20 to get off the clock and start to prepare for South Division play next week.
Heath Mosley tries to fake the punt. He ran to the right like it was going to be that rugby type scrum, but good defensive play by the Lions. C.J. Goller out of Columbus High School tackled him, not taking for granted that he'd punt the ball away.
Unfortunately for Pearl River, with this East Mississippi team, don't think that they're going to sit on this for 3 straight plays. They're going to try to put another one on the board to enhance their national championship hopes. Because, look, in this way, these voters look at this final score from around the nation. They don't watch every one of these games closely. The bigger the win, the more votes you get.
Messiah DeWeaver hands it off right straight up the middle to Keon Moore.
And a touchdown again. And like I said, it's 5 minutes left in the game, Kelly. There's some people out there might go, it's just as bad if you take a knee, and with over 5 minutes left to go in the ball game. So there's really no no-win situation for East Mississippi. And when you hand it up the middle, it's a pretty simple play, and the seas just kind of parted as East Mississippi has all the energy right now.
Smith to try to add another one. And he is perfect on the year so far.
He'll have to ice that foot down after tonight, though.
Not missed a single extra point. And I know there might be some viewers that are saying, okay, 59-10, this game was out of hand a long time ago. What is East Mississippi doing? But I want to share a story that years ago back in the 80s when I was covering Southern Miss, And Florida State, coached by Bobby Bowden, came to Hattiesburg and really put a whooping on Southern Miss. And Bobby Bowden made the point because somebody said, well, were you trying to run up the score? Which is, I guess, a fair question. But Bobby Bowden's answer, I thought, was really good. He said, look, what you need to understand is, he said, I had my third string in. And if you're a competitor, right, you want to compete for playing time, you want to compete for positions. He said, I can't ask my third string to go in there and roll over.
Yeah.
He said the third string guys, guess what they want to become? The second string guys.
That's right.
Or the first string guys. So he said, I can't ask them to roll over and play dead, which I thought was a very good answer. Kick fielded at about the 8-yard line. Snow dropped the football, but fell back on top of it. He would have been ruled down. Good special teams play by Austin Morphus out of Pontotoc for East Mississippi. Our old boss, Chuck Abity, checking in on the text message line tonight. Thank you for the kind words, Chuck. Continuous clock rolling with 3:09 left to go in this ball game. And again, with more than the 35-point lead, the clock will run continuously. And we're now less than 3 minutes left to go in this game. And Max Crawford will come in at quarterback. Max Crawford out of Oak Grove High School. Crawford, the sophomore out of Oak Grove. He takes the snap and hands it off right side, getting up to about the 25-yard line. And I think that might have been Marquise Cherry. For a gain of 5. Crawford again, I think the same player. That might be Purnell. We'll try to get a number for you.
I believe that is Jesse Purnell, Kelly.
Yes, Purnell out of Poplarville. The Hornets in Class 7-4A. The Summerall Bobcats lead that division right now. Of course, they haven't played any district games yet, but Summerall undefeated, looking to stay undefeated tomorrow night against Enterprise Clark. 1st and 10. Crawford's pass is low, incomplete. He was trying to hit Keontae Payton with a quick pass out into the right flat. But even an incompletion does not stop the clock here. Brings up a 2nd down and 10. But this is all, in this athletic event, this is all academic. Crawford with a high snap is able to pull it out of the air. Nice move by Purnell to dart to the inside and get forward for a pickup of about 3. And the way the clock is moving, Pearl River might get 3 more plays off before the end of the ball game, and they would begin preparations for Colin, their first South Division matchup next week. Purnell again to the left side, a pickup of about 3. That scrum just moving that direction. And so too for Pearl River, some of the younger guys that might not get as many snaps.
Well, it's nice to see Jesse Purnell get a few positive yards. He's really not had any room to roam a little bit, and sometimes you just, as a running back, I want to get your legs under you a little bit and get a few positive yards to get that mental part of the game in the right place.
So 20 seconds left to go. Pearl River, Crawford puts this one up in the air, and it's incomplete with about 13 seconds left to go in the game. We're going to sign off very quickly after this game is over, and I think the teams are going to shake hands right now.
I got one stat for you before we leave, Kelly.
Okay.
I don't think, very rarely does one play have as big of an impact on a game as that Hail Mary did at the half. Kelly, before the Hail Mary, we're talking, there was 6 seconds left to go in the half. The score was 14-8 East Mississippi. The total yards were 174 to 132. So an evenly fought
game,
ball game.
Indeed.
And we were one incompletion away from going to the half. with Pearl River within one play of taking the lead in a 14-8 ball game. After that play, the total yards in the ball game, Kelly, East Mississippi 310, Pearl River 18, and the score 45-2 since that play. Very rarely will you see one play flip a game any further from one direction to the other than the Hail Mary. 310-18 in total yards from that play forward, 45-2 on the score, 59-10 is the final.
I think you said it pretty well, Captain D. With the loss, Pearl River drops to 0-2. But again, the games that really count now are the division games, the South Division games that begin next week when Pearl River travels to Colin. We'll have the pregame show for you, the Pawpaws Campers and Cars pregame show for you at about 10 minutes before kickoff. And you can follow Pearl River Athletics on all social media for more information on Wildcat football. Their next home game will be here 2 weeks from tonight when the East Central Warriors come to town. Again, the final score from Dobie Holden, the #1 team in the country, East Mississippi 59, the Pearl River Wildcats 10. We'll see you next week from the Wolf Den in Wesson, Mississippi, right up the Highway 51 out of Brookhaven. For our color analyst, Captain D. David Sutton, and all of us at PRCCmedia.com. I'm Kelly Sander. Thanks for joining us. You've been watching Pearl River Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
That's a pretty good stat. 310-18.
Well, and those were Hines-like numbers, like last week.
I mean, that one catch change the game more than anything you'll ever see. I mean, you can't get any further flipped than that.
Sonic, I threw it away.
That's not mine.
Oh.
That's his.
Right, just throw that away.